I'm not sleeping. Yes, I'm late, okay? I was scrolling on my phone. It's fine. We're live. We're live. Good morning. Good afternoon. For me, it's morning. I'm fine, okay? I'm fine. Hi, everyone. Hello. Oh, time to talk about Singapore. Are you ready? I'm excited for Singapore. It is morning over there. It's not morning here. It's 1 p.m. But I got up like 2 hours ago, so just had lunch. Ready for a deadline stream. We're gonna talk about the rain, Red Bull's downfall. We're gonna talk about the Autopilot chip. Don't expose me, Cody. Shh. Don't tell him. Don't tell him. No one will know. No one has to know. I think you can actually hear it on my voice, though. I was out last night, okay? I got home very, very, very late. Actually here for a live stream for once. Welcome, Dan. Welcome to the stream. Welcome to the stream. As always, we're gonna do the Rain's tip of the week. We're gonna do the team submissions. So if you haven't joined the Discord, you can join the Discord. Link is in the description below. You just go, join there, go to the team submissions channel, and you can post your team there. I'm gonna be doing the team submissions at 2 p.m. so in 55 minutes. Okay, don't tell them. Tequila making the decisions today. No tequila, no tequila. Just other stuff. But I think we'll be fine. Shh. Okay. Don't. I'm getting exposed over here. It's terrible. Yes. So team submissions. Leave them in the channel in the Discord. I'm gonna be going through most of them, as many as I can. I'm gonna be talking about my team, your teams, what teams I think are the best. Did you check your microwave? Well, I'm not burning anything today, okay? I did that last week. Aim before another overcooked pizza. I've already had my lunch this time. The stream is later, all right? It was different last weekend because, you know, we had since it was in Baku and it was an afternoon race or afternoon quali. In Baku it was earlier, so I was making lunch, you know, made some mistakes. But but I've already eaten today. I've already eaten this time. Hello Lara, hello. Let's not talk about what I did yesterday. Let's talk about what I'm going to be doing today, and that is playing the Autopilot chip. Cats away, mice will play. That's really funny. I haven't done any transfer with my other team either, but I'd probably like to get rid of George Russell there. So I'm playing the Autopilot chip today, and I think it's almost certain I'm going to be playing it. Let's look at the weather, I think. Weather Singapore. So, is it going to rain? I don't think so. It looks all clear. Geez, look at next week. Wow. That is, I don't know. I think we're happy because rain in Singapore probably doesn't make a good race. But it's always fun seeing the chaos that the rain can bring. And, I mean, look at this. So, it looks all clear. So, no rain. Not even... Is this... No, okay, so this is tonight then. Rain sure brings chaos. Good morning. 8 likes is ridiculous. It's fine. We've just started the stream. We're just warming up. So no rain, which is good. I think that definitely should put people off using no negative. I don't think this is a no negative race, but I do think it's an Autopilot race. So the Autopilot, I've talked about it a ton, but the Autopilot is the weakest chip in my opinion. Just because it's a 50-50 chance of being useless, right? You can just happen to put the 2x on the right person. But since I'm very likely to switch Piastri to Leclerc, I think it's good to use the Autopilot chip when I'm betting on two different teams to do well. I think McLaren Ferrari is definitely the right way to go. Mercedes looked relatively fast in FP3, but it was also very cold. Like, was it raining? I think it was raining during FP3. Not that much racing, and Mercedes always do better when the temperatures are low. So I think Ferrari are going to be good. What is Ferrari doing, G's? No rain in FP3. Yeah, it was rain this morning. So, but like, it was rain this morning, so the track was wet, the track was cold. And Mercedes usually do better there. Temperatures are going to be low because of night. Temperatures are usually pretty high in Singapore. So this is it now. Temperature is still gonna be like 28 degrees. Ferrari pace was pretty bad this morning. It was, but it was really good yesterday. So I'm wondering if it was just due to they can't turn that bad immediately. I still think it's gonna be Ferrari McLaren. Interesting to note is that Lando Norris set a track record in FP3, the fastest lap ever set on that circuit. So I'm still sort of in the position of switching to Leclerc, but just seeing that McLaren are setting track records and how similar this track is to Hungary in terms of setup and how good McLaren were in Hungary, it could be a 1-2. So it could be a mistake to sell Piastri. You think of changing Ferrari to Mercedes? That's interesting. I'm probably not doing that. I'm gonna put the live on the TV and make my family watch. Oh God, not like this. How do I look? I look absolutely deranged. Great, thanks. It's also adding Larry the Lizard to my team this weekend. I think the Lizard could do some good things, honestly. That Lizard was pretty fast. That Lizard was setting purple sector, so I think the Lizard could be a good pick. He is a bit expensive though. It's hard to fit into teams. My girlfriend just asked if I'm watching PewDiePie. I'll take that as a win. I mean, it's close enough. It's Swedish and white. Close enough. Just hope Alonso doesn't get near him. The Lizard, yeah. Lizard over Bottas. I mean, true. That is a valid point. Shota Bottas seemed wise this week. I think so as well. So I have 3 transfers. I think one transfer is definitely going to be Shota Bottas. Just because it's you know, literally I saved 0.1 million, so I don't see why I wouldn't do it. Just put $1 million in the bank. Apart from that, I don't even particularly want to do Piastri to Leclerc, but I could do Piastri to Leclerc. Does that make sense? We're waiting for the FP3 simulations from Arthur. And once those are out, we can check and see. But I think it's going to heavily favor McLaren just because of that fastest lap that Norris set at the end of practice 3. But, I mean, so I'm still leaning towards doing this. I think Leclerc is going to be fast here. Swap Norris for Leclerc? And no, if I'm swapping anyone for Leclerc, it's Piastri. Norris has looked really fast this weekend, and he set the fastest, like the track record lap in FP3. I think Norris should be favored by the team, and if I'm doing this, I'm definitely if I'm doing this, I will definitely autopilot, I think. Maybe start with team submissions while we wait for FP3 sims. I have some things I'm going to talk about. So I want some of the team submissions to drop in. I know a lot of people sort of build up. There's people here now, but a lot of people do drop into the stream around sort of an hour. So I want to do the team submissions when as many people as possible are here. JP with the super chat. Thank you so much, JP. Piastri and Mercedes, or Russell and Ferrari. That's a really interesting duo. Piastri, Mercedes, Russell, Ferrari. With that, you could probably afford like Sainz, Ferrari as well. I think it depends on what you have. So last weekend, I talked a lot about double dipping, right? Betting on teams. And what I mean by that is a team like this. I can't even fit Red Bull in here, can I? But like, imagine I had this. This does not lend well to points because if Lando Norris does well, I don't have McLaren. If Red Bull Racing does well, I don't have any of the drivers. If Charles Leclerc does well, then Ferrari does well. If Mercedes does well, I don't have any Mercedes drivers, right? So you limit yourself by spreading out. So I think based on your team, I think it could be either or. So what the rest of your team, how the rest of your team looks like, will definitely impact this question. Because either or could be the correct decision, but for your team specifically, I think you need to take a bet on a team doing well. For example, I'm probably betting on McLaren and Ferrari doing well this weekend, and hoping that Mercedes and Red Bull are down in the mud. I mean, Red Bull is definitely in the mud. They should put Max in the RB because the RB looks faster than the Red Bull here. Red Bull is closer to Formula B than Formula A, which is crazy. So I think it depends on what other assets you have, JP. But overall, personally, I would probably prefer Russell and Ferrari is difficult again because it's different. So I think Piastri and Mercedes probably, because what I'm assuming is that this is the second driver. Let's say you have Norris, right? Let's say it's like this. You have Norris, McLaren, and then you're asking about the second here. So you have Piastri plus Mercedes, and you can't afford to go Piastri and Ferrari. So this looks better than this, because here you're betting on 3 teams to do well. You're betting on Russell, Ferrari, McLaren, and that could do well if Russell ends up P3 like he did last weekend, right? So this could do well. But if you're running this team and just betting against Ferrari, if Ferrari do poorly and Mercedes do well and McLaren do really well, you're earning way more points. So I think I actually prefer Piastri plus Russell if your team is Lando Norris plus McLaren. Now it could be different. It could you're not mentioning, maybe your Norris here is a Leclerc, right? And if your Norris is a Leclerc here, and then you have in this case, and say Charles Leclerc is your 2x driver, then I would prefer the other option, because then you want to get Ferrari in there, and then you can join. I know you're triple dipping here as well, but if you're 2xing Charles Leclerc, you want Charles Leclerc to win the race, then you also by proxy need to have Ferrari in your team. So I think it depends on who your 2x driver is, what the rest of your team looks like, but I think I prefer Piastri Merc and just bet against Ferrari. And I'm saying this as a Ferrari fan. So thank you so much for the super chat. Very interesting question, and I think it almost always depends on what team you have. Let's see. We have Mortal de Cuesta, double A or triple B lineup. I'm assuming you're talking about specific drivers here. Now, I could not afford this. This is for the people who are very, very rich. But if you're running no McLaren, which I think is incorrect. So I'm going to say right now, because of how fast McLaren looks, I think the double A looks better, because I'm assuming that you can afford McLaren with that team. I could not I have Fernando Alonso here, but imagine this was like Carlos Sainz. I'm so close to Perez. I'm not even that close. I'm 2 points, whatever. So I'm gonna put Alonso in here, but imagine that this is like Checo or Lewis Hamilton, right? And you could afford something like this. I think this is incorrect because you're not running McLaren, and I think McLaren is gonna be really, really strong here. Triple B is only really strong if you get like McLaren, but I don't see how you can afford McLaren. Maybe you have enough money to run like Mercedes McLaren, but if you're running triple B, you don't have Piastri, because again, Piastri and Leclerc now 8-year assets being 25.2 million. So I think you just dodge the triple B for now. If it turns out later on that McLaren's sort of cheatsy rear and front wing that they have now been banned from using, they've only been banned from the rear wing. When we get to like Las Vegas, when they probably would have used that rear wing again, that setup, maybe then, and it looks like McLaren are slow and off the pace, we could start looking at triple B lineups. But I think this just looks better, to be honest. Best team for under 18 MIO. I'm gonna assume that's 118 million. I think you probably just run... I mean, you have to have 2 premium constructors, so it's probably Ferrari, Mercedes, or McLaren, Mercedes, depending on what you can afford. And then, what, at 118 million, what am I at? I'm at 125.8. My budget's actually gotten better as of the last 2 races. So, I think you try and fit a 2B lineup in there. You probably have to just run the cheapest drivers possible. But I think you can afford this. So maybe you can have like a George Russell. Maybe you have Leclerc, or let's say it's Piastri, right? And then just the cheapest drivers. No, I think you can afford this. Yes, you can definitely afford this. So I think you can even afford to do this here. I think this is 118 million. I think this is the strongest team you can build with 118 million. You just bet against Ferrari, run George Russell, Mercedes, have Oscar Piastri as your 2x and hope he beats Lando, and then run McLaren still. So I think this is the best team for like 118 million. Good day, sir. Good day, Fraser. Did the Norris pace change your thoughts on Autopilot? Slightly, because, you know, Ferrari didn't look fantastic. So if I'm running Norris plus Piastri, I'm not gonna use my Autopilot. So that's the key for me, is if I'm splitting my team up to basically run 2 McLaren, 2 Ferrari, then I will probably use Autopilot. But just the pace that McLaren are showing right now, I think I'm not sure I want to go for Charles Leclerc. And if I'm running Piastri Norris, I'm not gonna run Autopilot. 125.2 best team, Norris, Leclerc, Sainz. Probably Norris, Leclerc. Autopilot was giving me a roller coaster last week, and ultimately I didn't need it, but watching the points swing on live scores was wild. Yeah, so when I use Autopilot, I'm just gonna... I don't think it would be wild for me. I think I would just sit back, relax, and just enjoy it. But I do think Norris will be the best 2x this week. I could do McLaren and Mercedes with Sainz, Piastri. Put all of those long things, long questions that involve your entire team in the team submissions channel on the Discord. I'm going to be doing team submissions in 40 odd minutes. So like these longer questions are quite difficult to read, and I can't really get my head around it. It's better to have a visual. So post your teams in the team submissions channel on Discord. I will be going through them in 40 minutes. C-tiers ranked. We're going to do the C-tiers ranked. We can actually do that right now. So let's go to Canva. Oh, look at Norris. Where are my C-tiers? Here we go. Oh, I still haven't imported the Colapinto. RIP. Well, I guess we still have Logan Sargent. I just keep forgetting to actually import the Colapinto image, but we'll use this one. It's fine. Let's remove this. Add the Singaporean flag in there. And we should use this one. No. Which one? This one. Yeah, there we go. All right, now it's correct. So again, this is Colapinto. I'm sorry, I've forgotten to change it again. Rain tip of the week, it's coming, okay? Chill out. Rain tip of the week is later on. That's like with 30 minutes left to go. So stick around if you want to know the tip of the week. C-tiers then. I love me some C-tiers. This was the ranking. Oh, sorry, I hit my mic. This was the rankings in Azerbaijan. This is not what I think now. Let's go over what has changed, right? Nothing has changed with the Williams. I think Alex Albon and Colapinto are the best C-tier assets in the game. The Williams looks rapid. I think Albon is going to continue being the best of the rest. Maybe get beaten by Fernando Alonso, but that's about it. I think he's due for points. Maybe he doesn't increase in price if he's only P10, you know, none in the Formula A sort of DNF. And in that case, it's fine. He's still going to get positive points. I think Colapinto will also get positive points. So I think the best C-tier assets in the game are the Williams, and I don't even think it's particularly close. I think we have Nico Hülkenberg as a clear A tier. His price point, Haas, hasn't been particularly fast, but I mean, they've just been good this entire year, and if they're bad in one lap pace, they usually have pretty good race pace, so you actually probably, make some positions on that, especially since Williams are likely to take the actual points positions of Formula B. So I really like Nico Hülkenberg still. Nothing has changed about that. As for the RB, I have an upgrade from MS Paint, Laura. MS Paint's coming. This is just what I use for the C tier rankings because it's way too difficult to do that in Paint. So MS Paint is coming. Don't worry about it. As for Tsunoda and Ricciardo, the VCARB has looked better, but I still feel like they're just P12 merchants. Like, start P12, finish P12 for a total of 0 points. So I don't really see the value in Tsunoda or Ricciardo at all, to be honest. I think they're pretty bad. I think Valtteri Bottas jumps up as a good A-tier asset. Now, this is just because of his price. Let me be clear. You should not go out and buy him. But I do think Bottas is just a better asset than Show, straight up. And at his price point, you kind of just have to go for him most of the time if you want to afford those more expensive lineups, especially now that the Sargent Colapinto, loophole is gone. So I think Bottas is good, but I don't think it's one you go out and buy. I think the RBs are perfect in B tier. I just don't think they're good. I just think you run Haas and you run the Williams over it. Kevin Magnussen is interesting just because of how consistent he is. I can't put him lower than like bottom of A, but I do think he's worse than Hülkenberg. He's way more expensive. He is gonna drive like an absolute maniac. He's gonna get penalties. But I mean, K-Mag is forever Mr. Consistent. Start P17, finish P12, get a solid 9-pointer increase in price. So I do think K-Mag is still a good C-tier asset. I just don't think he's as good as these others. The reason why Bottas is above him is because I would rather run Bottas plus a better A-tier asset, like a Leclerc, like a Piastri, like a Norris, than run like a Sainz plus K-Mag. So for that reason, Bottas is above, just because of what you can pair with Bottas. It's not just them in isolation here. I think Shogun Yu is just strictly worse now. I don't see why you ever buy Shogun Yu over Valtteri Bottas. You save money on Valtteri Bottas. I think Bottas is the better driver. Bottas still has something to drive for, which I don't really think Show has. Like, Show just seems to be completely out of a seat next season, whereas Bottas still has a chance. As for Lance Stroll is by far the hardest one to place. He's not S tier. He's still 14.5 million, which is a lot. But I do think the Aston should sometimes be good, but like, I can't justify going for him. I think he's just B tier. I'll just put him here, right? I think Lance Stroll is a skip. I'll do team submissions in 35 minutes. It says in the description, by the way. And then I think the Alpines are awful. So I don't think you should ever go for the Alpines. I don't see the point. Would you advise on taking Williams as a constructor and get 3 good drivers? No, not at all. I think that's incorrect, and I've discussed that before, but I can discuss that again in a little bit. I guess we should discuss that just because of how good Williams is. So, all right, this is my C tier ranking for Singapore. Do you agree? Is there anything incorrect here? Leave them now in the comments or in the chat. I'm talking like it's a YouTube video. Leave them in the chat or forever hold your silence. Stroll is between A and B, more likely A minus B plus. I think Stroll is super hard to place, but I guess he could be top of B. But I don't know if he's better. Is he better than Yuki Tsunoda and Daniel Ricciardo? Maybe, maybe not. Rick is also racing for something. I think Rick's already out of a seat, so I don't think he's racing for anything apart from just proving something. But he's had an entire year to do it, and he hasn't really shown. Would you trade Hülkenberg out for Albon? Yes, I actually would. Stroll is low B. I agree about that. Where you put Alonso? Alonso is a B tier asset, so Alonso is not a C tier. But if you want to know, here's Alonso. He goes into like down here somewhere. You know, he's in like a solid G tier, if you know what I mean. Alonso is probably the worst asset in the game. The Alpines are equally good to the other B tiers, I think. I think they're worse. I would rather go for the RBs over the Alpines, to be honest. They just not looked fast at all, and their upgrades are not working. And yes, they could have a decent, but I think it's really, really difficult to predict them. And they're also expensive. Let's talk about why we shouldn't buy Williams, all right? Let's see. Do I have one of those? I don't think I do. I think I'll just make a new one. All right. Let's talk about why you shouldn't be running Williams. I did discuss it a bit last week. This is my final fix thing from before. But let's discuss Williams, right? So the Williams looks really fast. Yep. Why is the Williams Constructor not an option? And it's for a simple reason. So say you have Williams as a constructor, plus you could run say it's a Carlos Sainz, right? Williams plus Carlos Sainz. Or, actually, let's make this Charles Leclerc, because Charles Leclerc is more expensive. So you could run Williams plus an extra Charles Leclerc. Say you already have Norris and Piastri. You have Norris and Piastri, and you're like, okay, but if I sell one of my constructors, which constructor you're selling? Well, you're probably selling the Ferrari constructor, right? So you have the Ferrari constructor here, and then instead of an Alex Albon, you now have Charles Leclerc. So this is the difference, right? You have a team. Which side is better? So you actually got to look at what does this include, right? What happens inside of a constructor? Well, you get the points for both drivers, plus the points that the team gets for fastest pit stop and for both drivers making Q3. So ignore like how many points a constructor gets. Just break it up into how much does the team get, how much does Leclerc get, how much does Sainz get, minus the driver of the day. On this side, you have this. Now, again, this is supposed to... Oh, very wide Logan Sargent there. This is Colapinto, but yeah. So this is what we actually get on this side. This is what we get on this side. Now let's look at what's actually the same. Well, you already get Leclerc's points here, and you get Leclerc's point here, so we can actually remove Leclerc on both sides because it's equal, right? You get driver of the day points here, but we ignore driver of the day. So we got Leclerc's points on both sides, meaning we can remove it. Look at here, we get Albon's points on both sides, so we can remove him. So what are we actually left with? The difference between those two is Sainz points and Colapinto's points, and then the Williams constructor points versus the Ferrari constructor points. So it's always worth it to go for the more expensive constructor and ignore the better driver. It's always better to go for two premium constructors. It's never worth it to go for the Williams. Because do you think that Colapinto plus Williams pit stops is going to outscore Ferrari pit stops plus Sainz? I think the answer is no. So yeah, this is we discussed this with Fraser's Madness last weekend. But yes, this is why you never go for Williams as constructor, no matter how good they are. The way the Williams constructor starts becoming an actual option, by the way, is if they start getting like P4, P5. Because then you could look at Colapinto and go, oh, maybe he could actually beat Sainz in points. And at that point, we gotta start actually taking the price of the constructor into consideration. But right now, I think like if you're starting the game now at 100 million, I think you go for the Williams constructor because you can't afford anything else. But yeah, I don't think it's ever worth it to go for the cheaper constructor. Does that make sense? It does make sense, yes. Very good. Let's go back to here. Go back to here. What did we... what did I miss in chat? A couple of things, probably. McLaren Mercedes, McLaren Ferrari. It's really, really close. I still think it's going to be McLaren Ferrari, but... I see an FIA document on Leclerc tire pressures. Would that be a grid penalty or just a fine? Well, let's look into it, shall we? FIA documents bot, my favorite Twitter page. Tire operating procedures, car 16. stationary in the pit stop position. The adjustment was not carried out in accordance with the procedures. Altered or checked. I do not know what that usually does, but I don't think it's gonna be that drastic. Disqualified from FP3 is what I thought. I don't think there's gonna be an issue with that, but I guess we'll see. Early season cheap constructors can be more viable to build budget, but it's too late now. I agree, but I also kind of disagree because all the premium constructors were B tier, so you still built budget when they increased by 1 million. So yeah, I wasn't sure either. Just thought, yeah. I mean, thank you for mentioning. By the way, spam the chat when FP3 simulations are out. So yes, early season it could work, but early season we did like everyone started with RB, the constructor. I don't know if you remember, but the most like the most common team online at the start of this season was Red Bull Racing Bulls. It was the RB combo. This is what everyone was running, apart from me. Everyone had this, and it turned out to be catastrophic. This was like that was not the play. It was never the play. We also thought RB was going to be way faster than they were, but I started with Ferrari Mercedes, and that was the correct start to the season actually. Arthur isn't online. Don't think we're getting one this week, sadly. That's sad. RB preseason hype. Yup. Do we like Piastri better than Leclerc? I don't know. Most looking epic, bro. Cheers, Boyd. Cheers. I could twirl it, but I've just, you know, I've not fixed it up. I don't know, right? I really like Leclerc. But the fact that McLaren were so fast in FP3 and Lando Norris set a new lap record makes me think that, you know, the McLaren is just unbeatable this weekend. And if it's going to be a 1-2, I don't want to throw away Piastri to Leclerc. So I don't know. I asked one right, is it worth to swap show for Bottas and not having 3 transfers? No. I think it's better to have 3 transfers than to switch between them. Because reasonably, either one of them could just DNF, right? So if you have to make other transfers, I wouldn't force the Shogun you to Bottas move. Remember when everyone thought RB would be last year's Red Bull? Yeah. Yeah. Those are stays. Yeah. So listen, show to Bottas is a luxury transfer. I have 3 free transfers, and you can only bring 1 over to the next weekend. So I essentially have 2 free transfers, like 2 free transfers, if you know what I mean. Russell or Sainz? I think I prefer Sainz, but I mean Russell just pops out in the right spots and just takes P3s for fun. I guess it also depends on what else you could do with the money difference. Next weekend is a sprint weekend. That is correct, which means it could be a 3x weekend. Only started playing for the Dutch Grand Prix. I have 103.2 million. Do I run McLaren, Ferrari, and Sainz, or what other options should I go with? I think starting at the Dutch Grand Prix, I think the best option is actually to run 2 premium constructors. Because why are you building budget? There's no reason to. So I think you should get the most points possible, because I guess you're in a work league or something where you start in a new team. Or you're just playing for fun and trying to reach the most amount of points. So I think the correct play is what you have done, is to run McLaren, Ferrari, and then probably Sainz, and then just the cheapest drivers you can afford, to make sure you have 2 premium constructors to get as most points as possible. But it's really, really, really difficult starting in like at the Dutch Grand Prix, because I mean, look at my cost cap, and I'm approaching the richer echelons, right? But there are people with way higher budgets than me, and I've been pretty lucky recently. So I think I'm above average when it comes to budgets. But there are people with definitely that are north of 130 mil. So the teams you can afford is very, 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 very different. What will you change in your second team? I guess we could do that now, huh? 0.2 million in the bank. What can I change with this team? I think this team looks fine. No? Like, what do I change? I think I changed nothing here. I can't upgrade George Russell to anything. I can't upgrade Mercedes. I'm not selling Lando Norris. So I think this is just the perfect team at this budget. Bet against Ferrari for this team. But I mean, I don't care about this team. I care about this team. Just A. I have the same question. Let's find just A. Leclerc plus Sainz or Norris plus Russell. Can only afford Russell, but his history in this track and him going off multiple times in FPs is worrying me. That is fair. That is fair. Leclerc plus Sainz is very brave. I'll give you that. But I don't think... I wouldn't be worried about Russell specifically. So I think it's fine. This is my team on screen. Subs in Leclerc for Piastri or keep 3x McLaren and sub in Bottas for show. I mean, if you're running the same team as me, I am not sure either what to do. If I'm going for Lando Norris Leclerc, I'm probably using Autopilots. But yeah, I'm probably just using my transfer for this. And maybe calling it a day. Maybe I throw away a transfer. Do you think it's worth to go -10 to go from Merc to Ferrari? You know, it's funny. It's funny, Theo. I actually saw someone earlier ask if it was worth going from Ferrari to Merc after Ferrari had a bad FP3. So the calculations yesterday, actually, we can look at the FP2 simulations if there's no FP3 simulations coming. So the FP2 simulations, let's see here, team calculator. I know we don't have anything yet, but we do have post FP2. And the post FP2 actually said that Ferrari was like 25 points more worth than Mercedes. But Mercedes looked really bad yesterday. Good luck today, mate. May the fantasy gods be with us. And may the fantasy gods be with you too. I mean, you've had a real bad string of luck. My luck has turned recently, so I think I'm favored in the eyes of the fantasy gods for now. Can't say the same for my FPL, but you know, it's fine. I have 3 chips. I will use it in sprint weekends. Is that a good idea? Depends on which 3 chips they are, but I do think that is pretty good. Yes. Worth trying triple premium and Williams drivers plus McLaren and Williams Constructor? No, we literally just talked about this, Hamsha. Like, go back like 20, well, not even that, like 15 minutes in the stream. Just pull it back 15 minutes, and we have an entire discussion about why it's not worth it. By the way, Leclerc and Piastri, I'll take Piastri better in rain. Oof, we'll see. The main issue with Norris Russell is that Russell is the only one that can gain some value. I don't think gaining value is a problem we need to worry about anymore. You build the best team you can with the budget you have. Budget building was for the first half of the season, really. I have extra DRS wildcard and autopilot. Yeah, I think autopilot, extra DRS for sure. The wildcard doesn't have to be used in a sprint weekend. It could be used literally whenever when you just want to change it up. But using the wildcard in Cota could be really good because Red Bull are coming with upgrades, and maybe we all want to switch to a Red Bull focused build if Red Bull looks to be back on top in America. So if that's the case, then maybe you wildcard in Cota, 3x in Brazil, and autopilot in Qatar. That could be a good run. Where should I use the 3x DRS and the limitless? Ooh, you still have the limitless, Mr. Dega. So I discussed that. I have an entire video on my channel that discusses when you should use all of the chips in the second half of the season. So I can actually show you it right now. I'm probably gonna start yapping here. Let's see. No. This video right here, end of season F1 fantasy chip guide. It doesn't have that many views. It's like a so you can just go to here and then you can just find, oh, we have random Be a Hero ads. I hate these ads, by the way. These ads are the literal worst. These fake game ads. So you can just scroll here to find. So you have the limitless here. Oh my god. Well, YouTube ads are relentless. I really should get YouTube Premium, but I can't be bothered. Here we go. So you can just go here, scroll to the limitless section, and listen to me yapping about that there. I made a video specifically for the limitless. I think the limitless is very, very tricky to use at the end of the season, which is why I think you should listen to this, because I said it's a good, solid, like, couple of minutes of why you should save it for last. This doesn't mean that you should use it in the last race. This means that you should check all of the sprint races and then use it in the last race if you have to. So I think it's a good video. I think it's a good discussion, so you should check it out. For the 3x, it's just one of the sprint races. Really, it's probably Cota or Brazil. Sim out, FP3 sim out. Arthur the GOAT. Arthur the absolute GOAT. And the side is crashed. Alright, I'm gonna go quickly to the bathroom. And then when I'm back, we will do the FP3 sims. There we go. It's working. You love to see it. 125.8 million. Let's recalculate, and we'll discuss this once I get. It looks the same. It looks the same. I'll be right back. I'll run a quick ad, go to the bathroom, be back in a minute. We are back. I did not turn my mic on. All right. So let's look at the FP3 results. Yeah, I know I was muted. I know. I realized it quite quickly. Muted. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I guess we're muted. So at my budget, which is 125.8 million, it looks like they prefer. I mean, this is the exact team I have. Oh, I mean, I have the show one, but they prefer Bottas slightly by 0.3 points over show. Other than that, this is the team. This is literally the team I have. The third most preferred one is. Oh, I mean, look at that. Look at how close it is in terms of points. It's nothing between them, and like this is between Leclerc and Piastri, so it's what 0.5. It's half a point between Piastri and Leclerc. Yikes. 124.8. I mean, this is what you can afford with 124.8. So I have $1 million in the bank with this team. So at 124.8, you still have this team probably. So you can see how much this team costs. And nothing uses my entire budget. Actually, they seem to kind of like Gasly, which is funny, considering I put Gasly quite low down in my list. but it's just strictly worse than Albon, right? As a second driver with Norris, Sainz or Russell? I think I prefer Sainz pretty heavily. I think the calculations are favoring Ferrari over Mercedes. Please, I'm getting crazy. 120.2 million. What can I do? I think you bet against Ferrari at that budget. Or if you can you still afford Ferrari? Ignore this. This is crazy. You never build Alonso teams. You definitely build this team. This is stupid. I don't know why they would ever favor Alonso here. I would never pick up Alonso. You definitely just do this team. And if you want to bet against Ferrari, you could do Mercedes here instead. Run McLaren, Mercedes, Norris, Russell. That's what I'm running on my second team, in case Ferrari mess up, right? So I think something like this. I don't know why they would ever favor Alonso here. I think it's totally ridiculous. Maybe because you can also afford a better C-tier asset alongside, but I think this is incorrect. I think Aston Martin are kind of dog. Sorry for the disappointment. No pain for me today. Thank God. 132.8. Ugh. I hate it. 130 million budget or you hire. 132.8 million is crazy. They're actually playing a different game than us. What can you even afford with that? You can just do the teams I'm running. You can get Stroll. You can actually get Lance Stroll in. So I guess my tier list actually mattered for one person in the chat. So that's really funny. That's really, really funny. But you see how, like, even at 132.8 billion, the Williams is still preferred. Like, we are so fortunate as people with like a budget of 125. Okay, can we get another budget? I love seeing a thank God I'm doing extra next race payback. Can we get a budget check in chat? I do these sometimes just to see where people are at. I just want to see like a rough average. So drop your budgets in the chat. I want to see it right now and compare myself. I think most people should be around a similar budget to me or slightly above, slightly below. I think between like 124, 127 type deal. What's the name of this site? It's f1fantasytools.com. It's a fantastic website. You should be on it. So what do we have? 138. Oh my God. That is disgusting. What do you mean 138? That is the highest I've seen. Yikes. 136.8. Whew. Brutal. I mean, at these budget points, we are talking triple territory, no? 136, 130, what were you at? 138.4 million. I just want to see what you can build with this. I mean, you're running a triple comp, no? You have to be. Yeah, okay, so you can afford Piastri, Russell. Cool. Why is he watching this? 100. Honestly, tax the rich. So that's what I'm saying, Planko. We need to distribute the wealth. I'm here. I mean, Marcos is here pushing with 122.1. United Rugby Live with 122.5. We have Slava with 124. And then we have people like Abjeet sitting there with 138.4 million. You just run this and win the game, no? You just run this and finish top of every leaderboard ever? Like, what's the point of doing anything? I mean... okay, I guess you could... Oh, it prefers Albon here. So if you want to get Leclerc... Or like Leclerc Russell, you have to get a Sauber asset in there. So I guess there is some decision to make still here. It's like, all right, Russell is obviously going in there because you have to. Oh, you can afford Paris? Oh my, I mean, probably not here, but soon. But I think you just run this, no? And hope Sainz does well. Or you run this if you don't want to run Bottas. If you don't want to run Albon. And you're fine with running one of the Sauber assets. I mean, this is disgusting. You have 5 chips left? Whew, you did start using the brainstem. How many races are there left? Like 8? Wait, am I stupid? How many races are left? It's 1 today, or 1 to this weekend, 3. So it's 7. It's 7 left. You need to use a chip in most races, Branston, because you can only use 1 per race. So how many points though? Probably sacrifice some along the way for budget building, maybe. But I mean, at that point, if you budget build to that extreme, you have not been taking DNFs because your C-tier assets have been the correct one, so they've been gaining you points. So it's not like you're out of points, and now you can go crazy on some teams. Any post-practice updates and news? Not any that I've seen. If you see any, please let me know. But it's been kind of quiet in terms of post-practice. What non-meta teams would you go for to try and make gains in standard teams? I'm okay with all the risk. I think the main one at like our budget, that's like 125 million, is something like betting against Ferrari or something like triple dipping, you know? You go 3x McLaren and go all in McLaren, but that's kind of common, right? So something you could do is go 3x Ferrari. You could go Leclerc, Sainz, Ferrari and just bet on Ferrari winning the race and sort of bet against McLaren. You could also bet against Ferrari by going McLaren and Mercedes. So you still gotta stick to somewhat of a meta team. You know, there's not that many options. I think the 2B2, like 2A drivers, 2 premium drivers, 2 premium constructors is almost is non-negotiable at this point. And at that point, you kind of have to run Williams, so you can't even afford to be different with your C tiers, which is kind of unfortunate. But I mean, Williams is just the best C tier in the game right now, and they're the cheapest, so you kind of have to go for them. I don't see any reason why you wouldn't go for Williams. So it's kind of annoying that you can't be differential in your C tiers, because even if I wanted to bet against Williams and bet for like RB, I couldn't afford it because RB and the Alpines and the Haas's are just more expensive than the Williams. So it's kind of unfortunate that you can't be differential with your C tier assets at the moment. So you kind of just have to bet against one of the bigger teams. I think that's the main one. If you want to try and make gains on standard teams, you just have to bet against like McLaren. Say you're chasing someone in your mini league, for example, and there's a guy above you in the mini league who's just running triple McLaren like I am, and you want to catch them. You kind of have to pick your poison. Like, okay, where can I which races do I think McLaren will screw up, and can I bet against them with like a triple Ferrari? I don't think that's today in Singapore. I think McLaren looked too strong, but we'll see. Ferrari looked garbage in FP3. Do you think Merc is a viable option? I think Merc is always a viable option, but I personally am gonna keep Ferrari. I think Ferrari will do just fine, but I'm increasingly leaning against using the transfer to bring in Leclerc because of that. So I might not even use Autopilot now, because if I'm running Lando Norris, Oscar Piastri, I'm not using Autopilot. I'm only using Autopilot if I have Lando, Leclerc, if I have 2 different teams. I like Ferrari pace best, but Norris seems stronger on single lap. But I mean, the McLaren's race pace is also brutal, right? I think there should be some data on that. No, let's see if we can find some. Let's see. Let's see. I can't find the one I was looking for. Ah, that one hurt. Ooh, that one hurt. Team submissions now. It is time for team submissions, to be fair. That one was crazy. We're gonna do the team submissions now for sure. It is almost top of the hour. What do you think about using no negative? I think you use the no negative in sprint races. I've said it before, and I'll say it again. I don't think it's time to use it in Singapore. Unless you're like, unless you are like, where is it? I can't find it. Unless you're like Brainstem and you have 5 chips remaining, you might have to start using them like just in this race as well. Yeah, that's the one I was looking for, Ali, but I couldn't find it. Let's formula data analysis. Long run pace. Here we go. FP2 long runs. Only Paris tested hard, so Red Bull traditionally runs a more conservative engine mode in the long runs compared to the other teams, and often a heavier fuel load too. Norris, Leclerc, Hamilton. Norris was on softs. They're pretty spread out though for Norris. Sainz. Alonso was decently fast, but also on softs. Hard to judge Ferrari after this morning. No idea what they've done because they were competitive in FP1 during the day. Yeah, that is an interesting one. FP2, best sectors, rear wings. Yeah, so I'm increasingly leaning against running Leclerc. I must say. Why am I watching this? Just for the vibes. I mean, analyze what others are running to plan accordingly. That's fair. That's fair. I appreciate you being here, Abhijit. But your budget is crazy, and I wish I was you. What's your overall rank, Abhijit? Are you like top? Love the deep illnesses. Thanks, man. What's your overall rank, if I may ask? Is it like top? Are you top 1K? 439. Yeah, I figured. So you definitely have a shot of winning if you get lucky with the right premium picks. So you're definitely in the running to take on the victory. I've seen some on the like top 100 list and just sort of analyzed their team and analyzed their season, and not all of them are at your budget. So I'm 474 and I have to compete with that. Yep. That's what I mean. So I think a lot of people in that top 1K are not at the budget you're at, Abhijit. So that's why I think that you definitely have a shot of top 10. Needs to be a guess. I mean, if you finish top 10, if you're in the running for top spot, I'll definitely have you on for the final race. That would be sick. If you want, honestly, like if you don't want to, that's fine. But if you're in the running for the win, I would love to have you on for the final deadline stream of the year. Is that Ricky Ponting? I don't know. Hoping you have a look at my MS Paint creation, first time using for team submissions. Speaking of team submissions, let's actually go and do the team submission, shall we? That's the FPL channel, team submissions. I will disable this, actually. So if you don't want your real name shown, you gotta remove it or change your name in the Discord server. But I want to see who's been posting the stuff. But I don't want to see the dots. So let's do some team submissions. And as always, I'm really sorry if I can't get to all of your team submissions. I don't know how many we have. Sometimes at times I've made all of them, but I will try and discuss yours if I can get to it. But I'd rather speak about like 5 team submissions and speak longer than just go through all of them and speak about them for 20 seconds. Because I think more people can gain insight into a longer discussion about a team if their team looks somewhat similar, if that makes sense. So, as always, let's see. I think we have a few that were early posters today. I love this. This is fantastic. And here we have some Sims. Today at AM. Whew, people are posting early today. So let's start with Syndicate then, and then we'll do Masters. Current team on the left, 3 transfers, 0.1 away from getting Leclerc, Norris, McLaren, and Ferrari. Is it better to downgrade to Sainz to be able to bring in Ferrari constructors? Well, I don't know if that is the case now with how poor Ferrari were in FP3. Hopefully they can fix it. But it's such a close one, and I think this is a good team, and I've said it previously in the week that I think this team is strong, like having Sainz for the cost cap. In this case, you could maybe even upgrade Bottas. Actually, you might be off, but you're close to a Bottas upgrade here. But you could, like, stick with this. You don't have to sell Piastri here, and again, I don't know if I want to be bringing in Ferrari assets after they've looked like that. I'm increasingly leaning towards not using the Autopilot, not using my transfer to get Leclerc in there and just run triple McLaren again. So both are definitely viable, but I think you either do this or this. I don't think you do this for the same reason I discussed last week, where like this is triple dipping. You want Leclerc to do well, but if Leclerc does well, Ferrari usually does well, unless Sainz crashes, like what happened last week. So, this would have been the correct play last weekend, but that's because Sainz crashed. So I wouldn't triple dip. I would do either what you already have and just, switch show to Bottas, call it a day with 3 transfers and leave a transfer in the back. I mean, this is exactly what I'm running, but you have Mercedes. So at this point, you just bet against Ferrari, and I think betting against Ferrari seems reasonable considering how bad they were in FP3. So you could do either or. Let's look at Masters. Current team, you have Russell and Albon. You've switched to Sainz, Valtteri. You've switched Lando Norris and Russell to Leclerc, Sainz, and you switched Leclerc, Piastri, and Bottas, Albon into Bottas. All right, so this team is very interesting. I don't mind Team D, but with 3 transfers, I would want to save a transfer for Cota, so I probably rule out this one. I don't know if this is the race to triple dip Ferrari. And again, I dislike this for the same reason I've stated before, because you're triple dipping on 3 different teams. So I actually prefer to do this team. I know it hurts to sell Alex Albon, but if you're sticking with Ferrari, I think for your team, I think you got to bet on Ferrari, and I think Team B is probably your best option. Now, that couldn't end up backfiring if Albon's really, really good, but again, like, Albon's fast, but I think Albon's going to be like P9 or P10 and get like 5 or 6 points, so I'm not expecting that much from Albon, to be honest. I could be wrong, but that's just what I'm, sensing. So I think it's perfectly fine to do this team, to bet on Ferrari. You could also do a separate thing where, like, if you want to keep Russell in here and keep Albon, you could transfer Ferrari out for McLaren if you want to bet against Ferrari instead and keep Albon. So, but you do seem to be kind of likely to sell Albon on 2 of your different options. So I think option B, but it's definitely not any guarantee. Let's see here. Who should be my last driver at 16.5 million? You're asking about a free reign to control your C-tier assets? Ooh. Is it just not Magnussen? Right? Do you just go for Magnussen at that price point? Do you go for Lance Stroll? Ugh. Leclerc has to report to stewards altering tire pressure in the pits. Yes, I saw that earlier, but we'll see what that actually... I'm assuming that's just a penalty, a fine. I don't think it's actually a penalty on track. So, if something pops up where Leclerc has a, grid penalty or something, then I'm definitely interested in getting Leclerc in. So, I prefer Hulk, but maybe I prefer Magnussen over Hulk when it comes to budget. So, K-Mag back with the vendor. I think I would go for K-Mag. I don't think I trust Stroll anymore, if I'm going to be honest. Especially now since he crashed pretty hard here last year. So I think I would go for Mag, if I'm honest. But it also depends on what you want to do later. So maybe you don't want to get the most expensive asset now and be able to do further things in Cota, like switching your team around to some sort of triple team. So, but I think I would go for Mag here. Or anything better. What do we have here? So current setup is Piastri, Russell, Merc, McLaren, with 5.5 million in the bank. So I think Leclerc is going to be better than Russell. So I really like this option. You get Ferrari, you get Leclerc, you're not double dipping. You're doing really, really well. I really like this H-Sing. Calendori with a long list of options. Current teams. Triple dipping, Mercedes and Ferrari. The safe split, Lando Norris, Sainz, McLaren, Ferrari. That is a pretty safe split. All Ferrari team, red all day. Papaya rules at a price. So, it's at a price, minus 10. Dislike that option instantly because of that reason. I don't like minus 10s generally. And I think this team is perfectly fine. So, I like the safe split over the Papaya rules because you're not doing the minus 10. But I don't like the triple Ferrari because Ferrari looks so bad in FP3. I would be scared of doing it. You could do it if you want to take a bet, if you want to take a gamble. But I think Norris just looks so good. I wouldn't want to get rid of Norris here. So I think your option A is definitely the best option. Because I would definitely want to get McLaren in here. So I think McLaren is the correct transfer here. Let's see, Piastri or Leclerc. Was Ferrari sandbagging? I'm confused now. I'm also so confused. And according to F1 Fantasy Tools, like the difference between let's go back to a budget that's reasonable. 125.8. At 125.8, I mean, it prefers Piastri, but it's by 0.5 points. It's by half a point. So, is it worth a transfer? I'd rather save a transfer and have an extra transfer in Cota. So I wouldn't use it just to use it, if that makes sense. So, like, you have 3 free transfers, so you essentially have transfers to throw away anyway. That's so difficult. I mean, this team just looks good. There's not much I would change with this. So maybe you go to Piastri just to make a transfer. But it's really a 50-50 decision. But right now, maybe you just bet on Piastri taking the 1-2 and triple on McLaren. 0 in the bank. Good team. Russell Mercedes, I like it for a lower budget. You still have Norris, which I think is the best 2x option. Colapinto, Albon, fantastic. You have Show in there. I prefer Bottas, so I would probably... you can afford Bottas, so I would just do Show to Bottas and call it a day. Save transfers. Already discussed that. That's what I'm doing for sure. Extra transfer in Cota by keeping Colapinto, or bring in Yuki and only have 2 transfers going into Cota. 5 million in the bank. You're very rich. Very, very rich. I think that Colapinto is good enough that you keep him. Just save 5 million in the bank and have a lot of budget to work with, and you can do really, really well in Cota, right? I think Colapinto could be one of the best seaters. You know, if he qualifies badly, that Williams is fast. I think if there's any car that can overtake in the midfield among the C tiers, it's the Williams, and Colapinto would be the most likely to do so if Albon qualifies P9. You know, Colapinto qualifies a solid P14 and can maybe rise to a P12, P11. So I think Colapinto is perfectly fine, and I honestly prefer him over Yuki. So I would definitely just make sure you have an extra transfer in Cota and keep Colapinto on the 5 million. I don't even think that's that controversial. Also, just wondering about Piastri versus Leclerc. I know it's FP3 seems to favor Ferrari, but FP3 is making me doubt that. Any debate on C tier moves? C tier moves, you have the best C tiers, I think. So I think you're perfectly fine. I wouldn't do any C tier moves in your team. And again, the Piastri versus Leclerc. We haven't done a poll today. Let's actually see what you guys think. Leclerc or Piastri? Who is best in Singapore? Because I don't know. I mean, in the FP3 sims, Piastri is favored by half a point. So this is purely vibes. Let me know what you think. Poll starting now. Because this is good, and we discussed this last weekend as well. And it always feels like a 50-50 between Piastri and Leclerc. It's also that they're the exact same price, which is kind of crazy. What do you think? Wildcarding. Ooh, that is spicy. We have another rich person. Tax the rich. You are heavily betting against McLaren in this. McLaren look really, really fast. I don't know if this is the race to do it. But then again, like, Russell and Sainz could increase in price, and then you're priced out of this team. So, wow. Maybe you do want to go for this. This is definitely better budget building than this is. Actually, maybe not if Hulk and Albon and Colapinto do their work. It's close. Like, McLaren just looks so fast. I would be scared to going without them. I would be very scared going without them. So this could be a Piastri here instead of Leclerc, but then you're triple dipping, so that's not good. I would honestly probably keep the old team and save the wild card, because maybe Red Bull are really, really, really fast, and you are evidently very, very rich, right? You have a good solid budget. What is it, 130 something million? So I would use the old team. I would not wild card. I would keep it as it is. Maybe get Piastri instead of Leclerc with one of your free transfers, and then consider wild carding in Cota if Red Bull's upgrades look really good, because you could definitely afford a good Red Bull team with this budget. So even though this is very, very tempting to run a triple premium driver, I don't think it's going to work out just because of how strong McLaren seem to be. Now, again, McLaren could double DNF and I look like the idiot, but I just think it's hard to bet against McLaren at this stage, especially since Ferrari struggled in FP3. We don't know how fast Mercedes are in the conditions that you know, Singapore provide. So it's just really, really difficult. But I'm impressed that you could build a team like this, and I don't think it's unviable, but I do prefer the more meta option over on the left. And again, you could always get to this team on the right as long as like Sainz or Russell don't increase by 1 million. And if Nico, Albon, and Colapinto all increase in price, you could definitely afford this team on the right in a while. So I think you wait and see in Cota. Maybe use the wildcard in Cota to get a Red Bull-based team with this budget. Like, you could have Red Bull here instead of McLaren, for example, and build a Red Bull team if Red Bull turn up with a really, really strong car in America. Like, you know, you just downgrade Nico Hülkenberg to a Bottas, and suddenly you can run Max Verstappen in here. So I think you wait and see with the wildcard, and then if Red Bull still look absolutely garbage, dog water in Cota, then maybe then after Cota, you know, Mexico, you consider going to something like this if you can still afford it with price increases from Hulk, Albon, and Colapinto. So, what you could do with free transfers here, I'm discussing this a lot, but I think this is a very interesting team. You could upgrade Hülkenberg to Magnussen here, and I probably would do it. I think Magnussen is worse in qualifying, increases more in the race, so I prefer Magnussen, actually, since you can afford it. And especially since you already have the wild card, you'll already have 3 transfers. So just get Magnussen in there. Maybe change Leclerc to Piastri if you want to. But again, it's the 50-50. And I mean, the poll, 57% Piastri and 43% Leclerc. It's super, super even. So you could do that. You could get Piastri in here. You could get Magnussen in here. Save the wild card. Have 3 transfers for Cota. Maybe wild card in Cota if you want a Red Bull team. There's options. I think I prefer the old one. But that's a really, really interesting team. Thank you so much for the submission, Falasa. I already did sing, but that's a lot of things. So option 1, you have multiple options now. Any recommendations? I did believe I said this. This was the option 1 previously. You could get Lando Norris in there with Hülkenberg. I kind of like that. 1 transfer, you get Lando Norris in there with a lot of money. I think this one looks really strong. I think Lando Norris is the best 2x option. You get Lando Norris in here as well. But 3 transfers, I wouldn't use 3 transfers for the same reason I just said, that Cota could be very, very important to have 3 transfers in if Red Bull looks strong. So I don't like this one. I prefer this one. If you have 3 free transfers, I don't know how many free transfers you have, but you could also do Mercedes to... Oh, you can't do Mercedes to Ferrari here. You can't afford it. But then it's 3 transfers, downgrade Nico and upgrade Mercedes. I think option 4 is probably the best one, just because you get Lando Norris in there, and I think Lando Norris is the best 2x option for Singapore. Let's see, 22.1, I'm thinking changing show for Bottas, but doesn't know what else to do. We have a slight triple dip here with Russell and Ferrari, but I think that's fine for budget reasons, right? And again, Russell can always pop up with a quality drive. So I wouldn't necessarily downgrade Ferrari to Mercedes just to force it into a not being a triple dip. So show to Bottas seemed perfectly fine. If you want to do something else, it's maybe doing that if you don't trust Ferrari and you want to bet against Ferrari, but you don't have to do that, right? Let's see here. Current Team 2 transfers. Possibility 1, possibility 2, possibility 3. For same reasons as before, I prefer probably possibility 2, right? Possibility 2 is triple up, Ferrari in there. I mean, this is identical, but you have Mercedes instead of Ferrari. So I guess it's Mercedes versus Ferrari. In FP2, it was definitely Ferrari. Now, but I think I still prefer Ferrari over Mercedes, but just slightly. So I prefer probably possibility 2 here. Let's see here. Current team with 1... I'm going to skip a few. I know I already did you, Master. Current team with 1 transfer left. Possibility to swap Leclerc in for Piastri, but poor pace in FP3 is concerning. And that's exactly what I'm considering. You have a very similar team to me, but you're richer, so you have Nico Hülkenberg in there. Team looks perfectly fine. I wouldn't force a transfer here, to be honest. Then we have... Stick with my team or swap Hülkenberg, Tsunoda. Again, I'm sorry if I miss you. But we'll do 1 more, I think. Should I stick with my team or swap Hulk to Tsunoda, Stroll to Tsunoda, or Albon, Bottas, Show, keeping both Williams on all teams? Lance Stroll, Hülkenberg. There's some way you can get a better driver than Lance Stroll in here, right? Hulk, Tsunoda, Alonso, Bottas, Show. Can you not afford like a Russell, Bottas in here? What is it? 24.6 million? No, you cannot. I guess then this is fine. I would probably just stick with Stroll Hulkenberg. Maybe go for Magnussen instead over Stroll. I still don't know how much I trust Stroll. I prefer Magnussen, I think. Okay, so I'm really, really sorry if I can't get your teams. I'm going to just scroll over. I see a lot of the teams that are very, very similar. Wildcard on second team for fun. Williams is crazy. What is this? What is this, Planko? Oh no, don't do this. Don't do this, guys. Don't do that. Lose my free 3 transfer for this team. You have 9 million in the bank. So I don't know what you're actually asking here, Jonah. I need a bit more information than that. Sorry. A lot of teams here that look very similar, so I'm gonna skip them. Sorry, Dave. Sorry. I can't get to all of them. Chrisio, all good. You're so rich. I prefer Albon to Tsunoda, but apart from that, it looks really, really good. Even though Albon is cheaper and you have a bunch of money in the bank, I just prefer Albon over Tsunoda. Which one? I mean, this is what we've been talking about the entire time. Piastri versus Leclerc. 55% favor the Piastri side. Locked in ship, not using any transfers. I think it's perfectly fine. Again, sorry I'm skipping yours, but I think most teams were very, very similar there at the end. So if I have time, I'll go back and do them more thoroughly at the end. But we do have some things that need to be discussed and some things that need to be do. It is time for tip of the week. Tsunoda or Hulkenberg? Hulkenberg. That is a monstrosity, Blanco. Monstrosity. Monstrosity. Before we go into tip of the week, how about some likes on the stream, guys? We're at 34 likes. There's 160 people in here. That's too bad. That's shabby. You guys can do better than that. Let's bump it up to 50. Before we go to team of the week, I'm afraid to drop Leclerc help. I'm afraid to not bring Leclerc in. I'm afraid to keep Piastri. I'm always afraid. I think you guys can guess what the tip of the week is going to be. The tip of the week is not it's not going to be the most exciting one. I've mentioned it like 14 times today. Russell or Sainz help? Depends on. Oh, I didn't see yours, Laura, and you had a pretty good graph. So I can look at that quickly. We have some MS Paint. Russell or Sainz? There is a lot going on here. Want to swap in Mercedes for Ferrari, but can't afford to go Leclerc Norris. So I guess you're doing Sainz here, Russell here. So I prefer probably to go for Ferrari over Mercedes. I still think, even though Ferrari were bad in FP3, I think they will solve those issues. So I prefer Sainz over Russell, but only slightly. And that's still going for, you know, the Ferrari. I think the Ferrari asset is better, and I think it's better to go for Sainz over Russell, because then you go for Ferrari over Mercedes, and I really like Leclerc still, so that's why I prefer Sainz. Tip of the week is Mortal de Cuesta has figured it out. It is not a controversial one, but it has to be said, and I think that goes to, you know, I saw a lot of good teams in the team submission that used 3 transfers, and I said no to them instantly. Even though the actual team looked good, I would prefer one that didn't use 3 transfers, because Rain Fantasy #1 tip of the week. I cannot write. House is a P. I just made a Q. Tip of the week is save a... Oh my god. Save a transfer or the wild card for... That's not what I wanted. For the United States of America. Cota. There. Eagles. Save a transfer or have your wildcard available for Cota in case Red Bull are good. There's gonna be upgrades in Cota. It's in 3 weeks' time. A lot can happen until then. Ricardo could be fired. We could have Red Bull be on top again. Max could be the winning car. So save the transfer, but any thoughts on setting up the team to switch to Red Bull in Cota? We can discuss that. I think that's a very valid thing to discuss. So imagine Cota rolls around. Free practice 1, 2, 3. Max Verstappen on top every single time. Looks like the fastest driver. He's going to win by 30 seconds. It's back to the good old days of 2023. How do we get him in and what do we do? Well, let's talk in my budget, right? So you would want to get Max Verstappen in. And that's really difficult because he's $31.5 million, all right? So I can just barely afford this. So at this point, we got to completely restructure, right? Is there any way I can do Red Bull plus Max? I don't think there is. I cannot afford this no matter what I do, even with the cheapest assets. I'm 0.3 million. Okay, so I'm close. I'm 0.3 million away. So with some upgrades, I could do this. But obviously, this would need a wild card. Like, I'm selling half my team for this. This is not going to work. So how do I actually get to a good team? But like, if you have your wild card and you're at my budget, you can almost get to this. Say that you know, Mercedes and Red Bull look really strong. If McLaren still looks strong, maybe you can fit some McLarens in there. So what I think you have to do, if you're at my budget and you don't have wild card and you have 3 free transfers, you have to prioritize. Do you go for Max Verstappen or do you go for Red Bull Racing? And I think that's where it's close. And I've always said I preferred Max previously, but like Red Bull Racing always gets so many points. And I think when Max wins, he could get driver of the day. He's not gotten any driver of the days this year, but he could definitely get them. So that, especially since he could now win after not winning for a long time. So that's why I really like Max Verstappen as a 2x. If, again, we're talking Cota, we're not talking Singapore. We're talking Cota if Red Bull are strong. So how do I get Max Verstappen in here? In 3 moves. I think the answer is in probably selling, doing 3 switches like this, right? So, like this. But again, this looks bad because we have 4 different teams. So 3 moves like this. I think this could be pretty strong. Again, if Ferrari look bad, Mercedes are decent. To get Max Verstappen in here, I have to run George Russell. I can't afford anyone else. So it would have to be a Max Verstappen George Russell team. So I think you're pretty well set up, especially since this is going to be Bottas as well, because I'm doing the Bottas transfer this week. So with Bottas, Colapinto, and Albon, you already have really cheap C-tier assets, so you can actually just get this team, right? So this is sort of setting your team up already with 3 free transfers. But you can see how like you can't really do this without 3 free transfers if you're sitting with a team like I am, because like this looks disgusting. I hate this. This is awful in every way, shape, and form, and I would rather not run this and just bet against Red Bull. So if we're approaching territories like that, I think we do this. What we also could do, if we don't want to run Max Verstappen, let's get these assets back in here. Say we want to run the Red Bull Constructor instead. I think you then could do something like this. This doesn't look too awful. You're still keeping Lando Norris. You have Checo Perez in there. I know that's not fantastic. But this could also be a Carlos Sainz, right? Because you're running Ferrari. So this is easier to get to than the Max Verstappen. You keep Lando Norris as your 2x. You just run Red Bull Racing for the max points and hope Max doesn't get driver of the day, essentially. So Max is too expensive. Max is so expensive, I agree. So I think the easiest way to get to a Red Bull team in Cota is actually just to sell McLaren and get Red Bull Racing and hope that, you know, even if McLaren do well, Max does well, and then you get the fastest pit stop points from the Red Bull Racing assets. And in that case, I just have to downgrade Piastri to a Sainz or a Checo. Again, I wouldn't want to do George Russell here because, again, we have 1, 2, 3, 4. Everything about that sucks. You could also downgrade Albon, right, to show. And then you could say, like, you want Carlos Sainz, but Carlos Sainz increased 1 million. I mean, I'm literally 0.1 million away from affording Charles Leclerc with this team, or Oscar Piastri. So again, I wouldn't run Lando plus Piastri here, because then why aren't you running the McLaren Constructor? Because if both Lando and Piastri are doing well, then you're going to get a lot of points. So, like, Leclerc here, after just a single points upgrade, that is literally 1, 2, 3 transfers. So, with 3 transfers selling Albon, after Albon increases in price, I could get Charles Leclerc in this team and just be chilling. RB has not a lot of fastballs in recent racing. They pulled beginning of the year. They did, but like they've always, if you look at the top 10 list, they're still always kind of there. But I agree, they have not been as dominant along the edge of the season. Do you think Piastri will outperform Leclerc? Again, I don't know. That's what the vote is about. And oh my god, it's 52-48. So Leclerc Piastri is literally a flip of a coin again, as it is every week. I'm just gonna expect it for now. So. The tip of the week, save a transfer on or wildcard for Cota, because if Red Bull are strong, you want to have 3 transfers so you can get to a team like this. This could also be Leclerc after Albon increases in price and Shogun Yu decreases in price. So I really like teams like this with Red Bull Racing in. It's very, very difficult to fit in Max and Red Bull. If you're one of those really, really rich guys that we, reviewed earlier, and you're sitting at 135 million, then you can start doing very, very spicy things with Red Bull Racing and Max Verstappen that no one else can even go close to affording. And, then you can win, so. Should I keep Hulk or Tsunoda? Hulkenberg. I think Tsunoda, I don't like Tsunoda. Since Hungary, no pit stop points. Since Hungary, is that actually true? I actually have to look that up. That seems wrong, but maybe it's actually correct. But like, we've seen like Sauber pop up with the fastest pit stop lately, so let's just do fastest pit stop. Red Bull, no, okay, they haven't had the fast. No, they got points in Belgium, so it's only 3 races they've not had any points. Which again, like the fact that Kick got the most is crazy. McLaren have really stepped up their game though, so. Remember earlier in the season when we said, oh, McLaren doesn't get any pit stop points? Well, they've now begun doing so. So that's kind of why the meta is the way it is, why McLaren is so must-have. But again, I mean, look at this run. This has to come back soon. This seems like a rut they're in that sort of... surely Red Bull is gonna pull back this form. How can I get more budget now? 190.8 is a little low. 119.8 is a little low, but like at this point, budget doesn't matter. Points matter. So just build a team that's going to get you the most points, and the budget will sort of automatically follow it, if it will. I guess if I can give you any tips, if you actually want to try and build budget, but again, you build budget to build better teams so you can get more points. So you should focus on points over budget now, 100%. But the best thing to do is just buy B tier assets. Like, don't buy the assets that are above 25 million because they won't increase. So yeah. -10 for changing Sainz over Russell? No. I don't think that's worth it. I think Sainz is going to be like P4 and Russell's going to be like P5. I think it's literally going to be nothing in between them. So I don't think that's worth -10ing. Yeah, so that's actually interesting. I didn't know that Red Bull had 0 in the last 3. But surely this run comes back soon. And I mean, this one is pretty impressive from McLaren, I will say. But like, I mean, Red Bull used to sweep this category, so... Alright, let's go back to my team. We're not buying Red Bull this week, obviously, but it's an option for next weekend, or next weekend. It's in a month's time, which is crazy. I can't believe we have another thing. 3 free transfers, thankfully, this week for me. Jesus Christ, I cannot speak. Yes, and you should save one. Rain Fantasy's tip of the week is to save a transfer or wildcard for Cota. 30 minutes until the deadline. I'm, of course, sticking around to watch the qualifying, as I always do. 28 minutes to the deadline. I'm going to lock in a transfer now, because I've been talking about this entire time, and I'm going to do it. I'm going to sell Shogun Yu for Valtteri Bottas. Why? Because I think Bottas is a better option than Show, and he's cheaper, so I have some more money in the bank, so that I am better set up next weekend in case I want to do some Max Verstappen or Red Bull Racing shenanigans. So I'm going to do this transfer now. And now we're just going to think on what to do if I should get Leclerc over Piastri and if I should use the autopilot. So I'll be right back. I'll run a quick ad. I'm going to go pee again. And then once we're back, we're going to discuss autopilot and whether I should go for Leclerc or Piastri. I still have not decided. All right, let's talk Autopilot. So the reason I was thinking about using Autopilot, and I made an entire video about it yesterday, if you haven't seen it, my team selection video, where I was heavily leaning towards Charles Leclerc, was that splitting up and not triple dipping means I'm betting on two different teams. Yes, so Philosophy is entirely correct in your statement. I think Autopilot is best used in a sprint. No, I agree, and that's what I was saying before. But because, you know, Singapore, high risk track, and it looked like Leclerc and Ferrari were really fast yesterday. In that case, when I'm betting on two different teams, I think either Ferrari or McLaren is going to be good. I'll use the 2x, the Autopilot, because I don't know which one to bet on. But since Ferrari were slow in FP3 and Norris set the track record lap in FP3, I'm increasingly leaning towards staying with Oscar Piastri. And in this case, I'm not going to use the Autopilot, right? In this case, I won't use the Autopilot because they're on the same team, and I think the team will favor Lando Norris over Oscar Piastri as long as he's not like P17 again. So I think this is perfectly fine and viable to stick with, and I probably will stick with this. And if I stick with this, I won't use the Autopilot. The only reason to use the Autopilot is because if I bring Charles Leclerc in and it turns out the Ferrari are faster than McLaren, I want to be able to, you know, have the 2x switch to Charles Leclerc if he is to win the race. Papaya rules, exactly. Yes, we've already looked at that, Joe Kempa, but thank you so much. I've got the same team, but I had to drop Albon for Show, and that's perfectly fine sometimes. I mean, Albon is going to get like 6 or 7 points. Show is going to get like 1. You know, that's the difference. So, Albon or Hulkenberg? I actually prefer Albon over Hulkenberg. Surprisingly, but I just think Williams are so good. So, I think I'm literally throwing a transfer in the garbage. I actually think that's what I'm doing. I think I'm sticking with Oscar Piastri. I think I've already done the move. I've already done Show to Bottas as one of my free transfers. And I think I'm just not making another transfer and not using the Autopilot chip and saving the Autopilot for a sprint or some other time where I'm betting on 2 different teams. So, it's boring. I was really excited to use the Autopilot today, but I mean, all the discussion with, you know, Ferrari being bad and blah, 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 blah. I think I'm just going to stick to triple dipping McLaren. And I mean, it's boring. I know. But I think it's the optimal play. Russell or Sainz? I prefer Sainz if you have Ferrari assets. Because if you have the Ferrari constructor, you do get Leclerc points. And I like Leclerc more than Hamilton. But if you cannot afford Sainz and Ferrari, I prefer Russell and Ferrari. Or Russell and Mercedes. Ferrari over Mercedes? Yes. I still think Ferrari is better than Mercedes. Now, that could be wrong. But I still think Ferrari will do reasonably well. But I just don't think they're going to be challenging as hard as I thought they would. It just looks like McLaren are too fast. It really does. It really, really does. How many? All right, 61 likes. Thank you, guys. Thank you, guys. We have 20 minutes until the deadline. So I'll take some final questions. Yapped off the hangover yet? Can you really yap off the hangover? It's honestly getting worse, but that's fine. I'll as soon as the qualifying actually starts, I'm just gonna sit back, relax, and enjoy it with a nice little bev. So are we not going with Norris and another Ferrari driver? I'm going with Norris Piastri, I think. Sell Hulk and Oscar for Norris and Albon, or B, sell Leclerc, go Sainz, sell Bottas. That's a lot. You're also in submissions. Drink some water. I did, but now I need non-sugar. Let's check the team submissions. Here we go. Sell Hulk and Oscar for Norris and Albon. I really like this. This looks fine. This looks... I think it's better to go for good A tiers. And I think Lando's... I would 2x Lando here, by the way. Let's have a drinking game and take shot every time someone overshoots corner in quali. Jesus Christ. Yes, exactly. Jesus. That will not end well for me. I could not take that today. We have Lance Stroll driving. You're gonna kill me. Your heart is red. Listen, you can bet on Ferrari if you want. I just don't think it's optimal. But that, like, my heart's also red, but I try and look at it from a non-Ferrari lens. I'd be dead by the end of Q1. Yup. We'll all be sloshed. Yes. And the funny thing, we'd also like miss half of them because it wouldn't be on the broadcast. Lando's so unpopular nowadays. I think Leclerc and P2 will get driver of the day or Lando win. I think we're sort of just in our Twitter circles. I still think he's popular with the casual fans. But I do think you're correct, Falasa. But I also think Lando's going to win. And he could very much get driver of the day if he wins, unless something crazy happens behind. If it's a boring race and Lando just wins by 10 seconds from pole, then I do think he's going to get driver of the day. I can run Norris and Piastri with Ferrari and McLaren. But I have to run both Sauber. Is it worth it? Yes. Listen, the C tiers can be whichever C tiers you have, or whichever C tiers you can afford. I think you always prefer upgrading your A tier assets because they're the ones that actually gonna get points. Like the difference is that you run double Sauber Colapinto, right? You have Shogun U instead of Albon. I mean, Shogun U is gonna get like 1 point, and then Albon's gonna get like 6 points. So you're losing 5 points, but it's not the end of the day. I just hope more midfield drivers who actually deserve driver of the day and not whoever wins the race. I agree. I mean, they really need to have some sort of different point scoring system for the midfield drivers in terms of driver of the day. I think it doesn't work. Probably sticking with my team and not using transfers when I have 3 feels bad. I know, but I mean that was the entirety of last season. So the fact that we've been able to use, this is gonna be like one of my first transfers I throw away. I think I've done one more this year if I go back and check, but I think this is gonna be the second time I actually burn a transfer if I don't sell Piastri for Leclerc. So I agree, it does feel bad, but I mean, remember last year, no one made a single transfer until like McLaren came with their upgrade in Silverstone. Like actually, everyone just had Red Bull, Aston, Shogun U, or something like that. So, should I do Leclerc to Piastri or save a transfer? Definitely save a transfer. If you're like me and you have an extra, like then it's more of a 50-50 decision. But if this was 1 out of 3, and then I would do this to Leclerc, no. The tip of the week, and this is important, you save a transfer or wildcard for Cota. Tip of the week, guys. Tip of the week. Always listen. The tip of the week has, to be fair, only been wrong once. I think. Right? I think the only incorrect tip of the week was by Gasly. When he had a 60-place grid penalty. Because he DNF'd on lap 1. You can do Ferrari and Sainz. Yeah, I like that. Again, my tip of the week or tip for the rest of the season last weekend was focusing your assets into 1 or 2 teams. But yeah, save a transfer wildcard for Cota. We have 15 minutes left until the deadline. So any final burning questions? The Gasly tip was so sad. It was sad. I was so excited for Gasly. I was like, oh, I have this entire thing planned. I'm gonna talk about why it's so good. He's gonna start from last and nah, he just DNF'd. He just didn't want to drive. So unbelievably lame. Unbelievably lame. I agree. We could probably get to 75 likes. It's 136 people in here. If you haven't subscribed, by the way, and you're still here, please consider subscribing. I am gonna need it after, and let me know, by the way, if you have any ideas for content over the fall break. There's 3 weeks between. It's like 3-week break in just the middle of the season. What do you think the average cost cap is among active users? There's so many outliers at like 135, but I've seen active managers at 120 as well. So I do think I'm probably at the average. If you check the median, it's probably slightly below mine, so like 124 million probably. Is Leclerc mandatory to have in a team? No, not at all. I'm not running. I'm not gonna get Leclerc in. I'm gonna keep Piastri, I think. Gasly DNF was devastating. I agree. I'm pretty much locked in. I've done the transfer of Show to Bottas, so I've already made a transfer. And I'm not entirely decided, but I think I've decided I'm just going to stick with Piastri and not get Leclerc in there and not use the autopilot, unfortunately. So no autopilot shift for me today. Could you do a video on upcoming tracks favoring teams and drivers? I could do that. I could definitely do that. That's a good idea. Good video to look at autopilot versus 3x, 2x at Cota versus Brazil. Not sure yet which I want to use where. That's also a good idea. So some sort of chip guide video. I could definitely. I think I'm gonna try to upload a video a week at least during the break. So there's still things that is gonna pop up here. Don't have the budget to get to Norris and Leclerc for my 3x. I need to do something to get there. My budget is 121.6. It's tough to reach that, honestly. Though, I mean, to be fair, in a 3x weekend, would it be worth it to run a C-tier constructor? That's an interesting thing, actually. I have to make some calculations on that. I don't actually know. So, like, imagine this. You're at a lower budget. Like, I could feasibly do a 3x with, like, Lando Norris, Piastri, or Lando Leclerc. But if you're, like, Lannister here, who's at, like, 121 million, at like 121 million, is it worth it? Because I've already talked about like how it's not worth to get Williams in here. But say I'm poor, right? And you would have to do Williams to do, and maybe even then you could do, say Verstappen's really good. Say you do something like this for one race when you're doing the 3x. I think that's what I would need to do to get Max Verstappen and Lando Norris in the team, by the way. So say Max Verstappen and Lando Norris looked at the best drivers in Cota. Is this worth it for one weekend? And I don't know. I would have to calculate on it. I'm not certain. So I'll probably calculate on that and talk about that in a 3x video. So it's a really, really, really interesting thing. My gut says no, because it's the sprint weekend, so you're gonna have like big points from, like, if this was a Ferrari, for example, you would get big points from Ferrari, both in the sprints, but you also do, like, we've already talked, actually, it's very interesting. All right, now, okay, now we're talking about this, because now my mind is going like, you know, now we're talking about it. Now I'm gonna yap about this. So remember how we've talked about in sprint races that, like, the points you get in a sprint don't matter, because, like, Max Verstappen wins the sprint and gets 8 points. Kevin Magnussen starts from P19 and climbs to P14 and also gets 8 points. So maybe with the Williams drivers, they could offset the fact that you're going to be worse off in the race while you still get the heavy points from the 3x. So maybe in a sprint race, when you're using the 3x, if you're poor, it could be worth it to go down to a Williams constructor for one race just so you can do a Max Verstappen, Lando Norris team. I think that could be viable. Race watch along stream tomorrow? Maybe, yeah. Oh, no, I can't, actually. I can't. I don't think I can. Sorry, no race watch along stream tomorrow. Sorry. I have plans. Haven't done F1 Fantasy this season. Is it worth starting now? It's... Callum, I want to say yes, because, you know, then you would come back here, watch content, but honestly, not really. Unless you're, like, starting a league with a couple of friends and all of you are starting from scratch at 100 million, then it could be fun to do at the end of the season. But, like, just alone, I don't think it's worth it. But if you have, like, a couple of mates and you get together and you're like, okay, let's all start a new team at 100 million and just run the final 7 races, I think that could be kind of fun. And then it's definitely worth it. Do a little quick money league, you know? And then also, you know, I think it's worth it because you learn how the game works so that next year you can start and, like, actually know and get in on it. And actually, so you don't start from scratch, you know? Because you want to, getting I can't speak. Getting a good start to the season is so important that if you are dropping into the game as a completely new player, it's quite difficult to build a good team. But if you've had some practice, even with bad budget at the end of the season, at the end of a previous season, I think that could help you at the start. So I think it's worth making a team, but maybe you don't have to be super active about it, but just make a team, see what works, see what doesn't work, learn how the point system work, check it a bit. If you make a league with your friends, then definitely, but, like, just against the general leaderboard, no. And you know, so we can check the viability on F1 Fantasy Tools past sprints. That we could do. So I'll probably make speaking of, like, okay, I'm definitely making a video now on the 3x specifically, and if it's worth going to Max Verstappen, Lando Norris plus Williams Racing. That's super, super interesting, and I think there's a lot of math that could go into this. I'm definitely making a video of that, like, next week or in 2 weeks or something. So 3x video coming. Subscribe so you don't miss it. It's gonna be a fun one, looking at some calculations on F1 Fantasy Tools. Very, very interested in how that would pan out, because, like, you would imagine that Williams does not work, right? Because, you know, you'd want a constructor that's going to get you points, and that would be true for the race. But we've talked about how C-tier assets are, like, as good as mid-tier A and B-tier assets. Like, George Russell, who gets 5th in the sprint, gets no points. Like, George Russell is useless in a sprint. Carlos Sainz is useless in a sprint. They're good in races because they get a lot of points in the races, but they're really bad in sprints compared to, like, a K-Mag who's gonna just charge up the field and get infinite overtakes. Especially since you can check, especially because it's a sprint race. So, like, say Williams start P9 and P10 in the sprint, you obviously don't do Williams. Say you have, like, both the Haas drivers starting, like, P19, P20, you just go Haas. Oh my god, like this could actually be so gigantobrain. If Max Verstappen is good and like the Red Bull is good and you want to do a 3x with Lando Norris and Max Verstappen, I actually think it could be viable to go for a CT Constructor for one race. Oh, this is so exciting. I love this. This is the most fun I've had in a while. And we're 7 minutes until the deadline. I fell in love with this idea already, and I really hope Max Verstappen is really, really strong and the car is good in Cota for Red Bull, so that I can try this strategy, because I want to try it. I actually want to try it. Rainmail lost the plot. No. I haven't lost the plot. My brain is just doing, you know the spinning monkey gif? Is it worth it taking a -10? It depends for what. I've done one -10 this season, and it was worth like 6 points. So, for the last time, Piastri or Leclerc? I don't know, man. I don't know. I think Piastri, but it's 55-45. It's so close. To go from Mercedes to Ferrari. Yesterday I would have said hell yeah. Hell yeah, brother. Now I don't know, because Ferrari looked completely useless in FP3. But yesterday Mercedes were awful, so it looked like there were like 25 points to be gained there. So maybe it could be worth it, but it's close. Also, if you're using a -10, you've used all the transfers, so that means you haven't followed the tip of the week. But, you know, I digress. Let's get ready for the quali. Let's get ready for the qualifying. Let's do a little screen here on the left. I really need a third monitor for the stream setup, just to have like one with the chat on all the time. That would be ideal, but I do not live in an ideal world. Who wins today, Leclerc or Norris? Norris. I don't think we can get to 100 likes now. I think that ship has sailed. Thank you so much for watching. If you did, I'm gonna stick around and watch the qualifying. So if you wanna see me scream when Lance Stroll hits the wall, you're welcome to. I think I've locked in my team. I'm burning a transfer for only the second time this season. Going into Cota with the tip of the week, 3 transfers. I'm running triple McLaren. I'm not doing Ferrari and Leclerc. I'm not doing the autopilot chip, unfortunately. I really wanted to use the autopilot today, but I'm not going to do it. And yeah, let's just watch the qualifying together, have some fun. If you are heading out somewhere to watch the qualifying on a, with your friends or in a pub or something, then enjoy. And I'll see you in 3-4 weeks time for the next deadline stream. That's so long. I cannot believe it's a 3-week break. But don't go too far, because there's gonna be content on the channel. There's gonna be the 3x crazy idea that I just thought of. We're gonna do some fun stuff. So subscribe to the channel so you don't miss anything. Of course, we're gonna do race review. We're gonna do team selection videos, all of that good stuff. And there could be other fun things popping into the channel in the coming couple of weeks. We'll definitely start next season. For now, I'll still watch your streams and find them enjoyable. Thank you, Callum. That's really kind of you. It's really kind. This year's calendar is booked. Yup. You should do a race follow-up chat. Yes, I could do that. I think normally I like to do do this as transfer plans, because I've noticed when I can talk some behind-the-scenes YouTube stuff now that we're winding down a bit. I've noticed that when I title a video as race review, the problem with F1 Fantasy is like it usually takes 24 hours for all the things to come out, if that makes sense. The points to update, the price increases to come through, and when that happens, and when it takes longer for me to make a video, because I don't want to sit down and record a video before anything is finalized, because the F1 Fantasy tools is not entirely accurate all the time, especially when it comes to which assets increase in price on the C tier side, because it could just differ by 1 point, and maybe they've calculated an overtake differently. So I don't want to make a video before F1 Fantasy is finalized. But usually when F1 Fantasy is finalized, it's been so long that I can't make a video like immediately most of the time, because I'm busy with other stuff. So I end up making a video like on Monday or Tuesday, or posting it on Tuesday. And at that point, people have already forgotten about the last race. Like, I don't know if you noticed, like, other F1 content creators that don't do fantasy stuff, that, you know, P1 podcast and all of that stuff, they post their race reviews instantly, because if you post that a day late, you don't get any views, because people have already forgotten about the last race. They don't want to hear about the previous race. They want to hear about the next race, and especially that's true for F1 Fantasy. So when I title it as like a race review, race chat on the previous one, it would only really work if I do it on the Sunday or like post it Monday morning, if that makes sense. Or else it's just a waste of my time. Because, spoiler alert, the same thing I discuss in a race review is what I discuss in the transfer plans video. It's just that the transfer plans videos do better. So, all right, good luck, everyone. Good luck, everyone. Not the fanatics that are still here. Yep. I don't even look at my fantasy points until the next race. See, that also works. And I think that's a problem, right? In FPL, you get the reward instantly, right? You get the points the same day, and they tick along as the match is happening. You know, a goal is scored, you get the points immediately. That doesn't happen here. Like, when an overtake happens, you don't get the point immediately. And I think that's something that F1 Fantasy really should look into implementing. Is this my lineup? Yes, this is my lineup. So I actually think F1 Fantasy, everyone's talking about, you know, inactive drivers don't work. They need to change this. They need to change how the price change algorithm works. And I agree, but I actually think the main thing F1 Fantasy as a company should do to make the game better is to make it more interactive. And what I mean by that is, like, you could watch F1 on your TV, have F1 Fantasy on your phone. You see Alex Albon do an overtake and he gets a point. You get what I mean? Like, if the response was instant in the game, it would be way more engaging for managers, and I think more people will stick it around and play it for longer, if that makes sense. So I actually think that's the main thing they should implement, because, like, the instant reward that you get is so, like, best chip to use this race. Well, it's too late because the deadline is now, I'm pretty sure. But probably Autopilot or no negative or wildcard. So I think that's the main one they should implement. Just because, like, that instant gratification you get for FPL, watching your team and you see them score, and like a minute later it's popped up in your team. You see the points you've gotten, and then they can go back and change it. That's fine, and it's locked. Good luck, everyone. This is the team. No autopilot for me. Sorry, I clickbaited everyone yesterday, but it's fine. Does that make sense? I feel like that does make sense, and I really think that's the main thing that they can do as a company to make the game more enjoyable for the casual fan base. And I think that would actually get more people to stick around and play for an entire season. And if more people stick around for an entire season, more people will sign up next season, because you have people telling their friends, oh, I've played this all season, it's really fun, you should play it. And then more people join, and that's how you get to a player base of 12, 14 million. I don't know how many people play Fantasy Premier League. I think it's like 10 million or something. And that's what you want to get at. Like, I mean, F1 is a global phenomenon, and there's like, what, 2 million players playing F1 Fantasy, and like 100,000 active managers, if even that. I even think that could be incorrect. All right, let's get the F1 the dashboard up, so we can follow along with the qualifying. Let's see, F1 dashboard. F1 dash. Go to the dashboard. Let's see. Let's see if this is correct delay-wise. Good luck to all. Here we go. 16:11. This is way too far ahead. Should be like 35 seconds. Alright, put your bets in chat. Who's getting eliminated Q1? Alright, now it's perfectly synced with my stream. So this is what I'm looking at right now on my broadcast. If I'm super far behind you guys, I probably am, because there's a slight delay on the stream. Plus, Via Play is usually quite slow in their coverage, or like it's quite delayed in their coverage. So it's very likely that you guys are gonna be like 40 seconds ahead of me or something like that. I've seen that before, but it's fine. I'll just try and not be spoiled by chat. So yeah, I could do a post chat, but it's not it's not guaranteed to do well, and in that case I'd rather just do a transfer plans video. Both Saubers out in Q1. I think that is very non-controversial of you, but I think you're correct. Both Saubers. And then what? Both Saubers, Ocon, Magnussen, and Stroll. Stroll Q1 crash again. Was it Q1 he crashed in last year? That crash was brutal. He didn't even race. The car was in shambles. Oh, I actually cannot wait to record that video now about running a C-tier constructor in a sprint race. I'm so curious. There's gotta be something to it. Surely there's something to it. Or am I just absolutely crazy? Because like, if you're super poor, do you really want to use 3x on like Norris Russell over like a Norris Piastri, Norris Leclerc, or Norris Verstappen? The entire time, now obviously Red Bull are useless, so I'm not expecting anything from Red Bull. But back in like Spain, when it was Max Verstappen versus Lando Norris in most races, I assumed that I would want to use the 3x on Norris and Verstappen. And I cannot afford that with how expensive Max is as an asset. So I'm going to make an entire 3x video. I'd probably do that this week. I got really inspired by that now. And it's valuable knowledge as well to just talk about the 3x generally, since we're going to have 2 sprint races coming up. And I feel like a lot of people, like, the 3x is going to be important. So I think I'll make a full 3x guide this week, and that'll be my like one big video. So I'll do like the classic, I'll do like a race review type thing on Monday probably, and then get out a 3x guide later in the week. Boom, 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 boom. Oh. All right, now that we don't have that many people here, I can tell you guys that I'm hungover. Oh. Is it obvious on my voice, by the way? Because I feel it in my throat. I got home at like 4 a.m. yesterday. You don't count. Because you know. But I'm curious for the other people in here. Is it obvious? I feel like a mess. You were awake at 5. I probably was awake at 5. I've slept like 5 hours. All good. Thanks, Greg. That's all I needed to hear. I'm on Greg's side. Kara is my girlfriend, by the way, if you don't know. So I sent her Snapchats at 5 in the morning, eating nachos. That was all good. Nachos at 5 a.m. when you get home. Oh, can't tell because I too had a long night. Nice, Christian. Nice. No, I went out with my best mate for the first time in like 4 or 5 months. I haven't gone out with him for so long. So, had some dinner, drank some wine, drank some beer, went out, bar, club. We went to like 3 different places. Good time. Met up with some people. I leave town, they have fun without me. Hey, man. Don't leave. Ten minutes left. I'm expecting there to be high improvement in the times. What was Lando's time in FP3, by the way? Let's go and check it, because I don't remember what it was. So that was the record time, by the way. Singapore practice 3. 1:29.64. So this was a track record, by the way. So that is sort of the mark that we're looking for. That's the time. Sainz incident. Failing to follow race directions instructor, escape road. I did not read that in time. Sainz has done something stupid. I don't know if that's going to lead to anything. I mean, the times aren't great so far. Norris's fastest was 1:37. So he was a second faster in free practice. Do we think Show's going to be P20 again? I think Show's going to be P20 again. Ooh. That's a touch from Colapinto. Also, have you seen the new Haas sponsor, by the way? I think that's so funny. So, if you didn't see, the Haas has a new sponsor. I really want to see it on their nose. Do we think another Williams Q3 will happen? Yes, I think Albon will get to Q3. So Haas is a sponsor for like this race in particular on the front nose. It's a game and it's made by Atlas. And if you don't know Atlas, Atlas has made Persona, the Persona games. And I love Persona. Like, that's my anime fix. So I love the Persona games, and this is a new title from them, so I have no idea what this metaphor game is, but it looks very it's heavy on the weeb scale. It releases in October. I haven't seen anything about it. But they're sponsoring Haas. So like my two worlds collided. Like I don't know if you see, but like my background is literally Persona 3. So I just thought it was so funny that they sponsored. There's like an anime. There's like an anime girl on the Haas car. If it is what the images were, I just think it's so funny. Like, it looks so out of place on an F1 car. It's crazy. But I guess the market is pretty big in Southeast Asia. Verstappen is quick. He is, but like, again, Norris is slow. Norris was a second faster in FP3. I would love a cheeky Colapinto in P19, by the way. I want to see Bottas Colapinto in the back. Max, let's see what he did. Ooh, that was close. Oh my god, how did he save that? Oh, these walls are crazy. Imagine if we did that game that Planko said, the drinking game, taking a shot every time someone goes too far in a corner. Oh, Alpine, was that Gasly? Yeah. I mean, just this replay. There's like 4 or 5 replays in a row of just cars sliding all over the place. My god, we would be smashed. That was 6 shots right there, by the way. Classic. You want an anime girl in your car? Let's see if I can find it, actually. Haas. It's so funny. Let's see here. I can't see it on the front wing. Yeah, it's right there beneath the Haas. It says metaphor, and then there's like an anime girl. Let's see if I can find a picture of it. This is, oh no, this is F1 Academy. Can you see it here? Nope. Did you end up going with Leclerc or Piastri? I ended up going with Piastri. No autopilot for me. Ice baths. I really want to see a close-up of the Haas sponsor. It's right there underneath the Haas logo on the front wing. It looks so out of place. Listen, I think the game might be good. I can't... It hasn't released yet. Oh, here we go. Yeah. The Metaphor Refantasia logo. Look at this. This is just an elf girl on the front on the front of the house. It's so funny. Look at this. Oh, it's so good. It's actually my favorite F1 sponsor of all time. This is so funny. Oh, this is so good. It's just for comedy reasons. And like I'm a person who would probably buy and play this game, by the way, because I mean I played the other Atlas games and I like them. But this is so funny to me. What a lap from Hulk. Yeah, that's a good lap from Hulkenberg, actually. P5. Wow. Hamilton sliding all over the place. Here comes Albon. I just think it's so funny. I think that sponsor is probably the funniest. Has there been a funnier F1 sponsor? Like it's just an anime. It's just an elf girl on the front of the wing. Didn't OnlyFans want to sponsor Alpine for next year? I saw some rumors about that, but I don't know if it was actually true or if it was just people trolling. That would be very funny. Predicting out in Q1. Go up. I'm gonna put this up here just to shame you, Kari. I'm just gonna shame you. Albon goes fastest! Woo! Hey, let's go. I missed that. And then Norris comes in with a 30-0. There we go. That's 7 tenths. There we go. Now, alright. Literally pin of shame. Alex Albon, my goat. Yeah, and then Lando Norris just... Piastri goes faster. Still 2.5 tenths. I mean, Lando's just gonna pull this, no? He looks unstoppable. There's still 4 tenths to get in this car, by the way, from that lap in FP3. But maybe that was track temperature, so maybe he can't reach that now. But he's just a solid 8 tenths faster than Verstappen. Bottas shows Stroll, Ricciardo, Tsunoda. Ooh, double RB elimination is interesting. I think I said Ocon, I think, but I think one Alpine is out. But I would love a Colapinto exit. I would love a Colapinto P19, cheeky. But would be great for fantasy. Oh, I'm not listening. I'm just watching the feed, so I'm not listening to what the Swedish commentators are yapping about. Många får svårt att få bakgrunden att hänga med is really funny. Albon kissed the wall. 1 minute 40, so everyone's out on the lap now, I would imagine. Yes. Who's first in the... Is it Hamilton? People are on outlaps. There's gonna be some traffic jams somewhere. Hamilton goes third fastest, ahead of Albon, behind the McLarens. Should probably be safe. Here comes Russell across the line, only 6th. 138. Perez, 4th fastest, above Albon, behind Hamilton. Splits them. I don't think Russell's safe. Verstappen, 2nd fastest. Ahead of Piastri. Good lap from Verstappen. Times are improving, but there's no way. I think Russell's safe. There's no way that Bottas and Show and all of those back markers back that up. Ricardo, only 12th. I think he will be out. Here comes Magnussen. And goes... Coming up on the final corner now. Leclerc is going to be last on track, I think. Magnussen 10th behind Russell, so Russell's probably safe there. Here comes Tsunoda, final corner. Wing up, 8th. Good lap from Tsunoda, putting Ricardo in his place. Russell says, I've got no grip. It's totally different to FP3, totally different. The tires are so different. I mean, he's been complaining about the tires for a while. Colapinto, P8. No Q1 exit for Colapinto. I think Ricardo is gone. Stroll should be faster than Ricardo here. Hulkenberg, P10. Ferraris are in trouble, but they're out on a fast lap here. So I think they'll be fine. Let's see. Here comes Stroll. Final corner. And is not faster than Ricardo, so Stroll's out. Good guess from Filazza. Stroll owners probably happy about that. Ocon only 14th. We'll see if that's enough. Here comes the tractors. Show 19th ahead of Bottas. You love to see it. Bottas don't improve. Bottas improves 18th, but here comes Gasly on a fast lap. Gasly only 18th, so Gasly's out, Stroll's out, and I think it's done. Yeah, Ricardo's done, so Sainz don't even need to finish his lap there. Leclerc can just go into the pits, he doesn't have to finish it. But he still does. No, Leclerc went into the pits, he did not finish his lap, makes sense. Ricardo, Stroll, Gasly, Bottas, Show out then. Really, really good guess from Filazza, he got 4 out of 5. I got Ricardo. I said Ocon instead of Gasly. I was close. And I did not get... What else did I get? I guess Magnussen as well. So it wasn't awful because I bet the 14th and 15th. I was 3 for 5. I did not think Stroll and Gasly were going to be in there. I thought it was going to be Mag and Ocon. But they were 14th and 15th. And it was not a lot. I mean, Gasly was pretty far behind Ocon actually. 3/10 down between Stroll. But like, Stroll and Rick could have definitely made it through. But that's probably Rick gone, right? They were going to make a decision on his seat after Singapore, and he just got absolutely schooled by Tsunoda, so there's no way he's... I think he gets the boot, and I think we have Liam Lawson in Cota. Decent qualifying, but not that exciting. Russell was down in 13th. I did say he wasn't safe. What was the timing? Russell only made it through by, like, the skin of his teeth, right? Magnussen was 100th. Or what? 18,000 slower. And Ocon was a 10th slower. And then there was another half a 10th. No, it was another 10th. So 2/10 only for Russell from the line, so... Into F1, I would be so sad if he goes. I think he goes, unfortunately. I thought the Ferraris could be out for a second there. No, I mean, I was worried for Russell for a second, to be honest. So, but Leclerc didn't finish his lap, so we don't know how fast he would have been. But Sainz was only good enough for 6th, so that's behind the Red Bulls. Ooh. That's a kiss the wall from Magnussen there. This is theoretically one of the most exciting qualifying sessions of the year because of track evolution. We all kind of know Lando's going to get pole. I mean, Lando does look unstoppable. Verstappen was a 10th and a half. Here we have some traffic. Unbelievable bunch of idiots, man. They're in the way everywhere. Do you think he's not swearing on purpose? By the way, that's crazy. Literally, like, FIA putting, punishing Verstappen for swearing in the press conference, that just jumped up Verstappen's retirement by like 2 years. I'm not even joking. Max radio is really funny. Really funny. But I mean, Max was fast. A tenth and a half behind Norris, but like that, Norris can squeeze out another 4/10 out of that car. Yeah, community service for swearing is crazy. Like, it's just, the kids, but like, it's not a kids show. Just stop showing like, the production can choose which radio messages they display. So why bother? I don't know. I think it's crazy. I think it's way more scary for a kid to see Roman Grosjean explode in a fireball than there is to hear Max Verstappen say the F word, you know? That's funny. Bum, 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 bum. They literally have a broadcast for children, by the way. Let's see, anything new from Document Bot? Alright, so Ferrari was fined 5k for whatever they did with Leclerc's tires. I don't know. They did something. But they got a 5k fine, so no further thing there. So that's good for Leclerc owners. Oh, I haven't tweeted on my team. I'm trolling. I'm such a bad content creator. Where's my F1 fantasy? Let's take a little screen cap here. Boom. And boom. Just copy the image there. Boom. Go back here. Make a little post on Twitter. Final team for Singapore. Due to the poor FP3 runs from Ferrari, I ended up not using the Autopilot chip as I didn't get Leclerc in. Not using the Autopilot chip as I didn't get Leclerc in. I think this will be a McLaren sweep. Quali, watch along now. There we go. Paste the picture. Cheeky hashtag F1 fantasy. Some emojis. And post. And let's go to the just copy the link to the stream again and do a quick little link in the comments. There we go. Lovely. Daniel Ricciardo knocked out in Q1, which might be his last ever qualifying session. That is crazy. That is crazy. Am I cooked with Russell as my second driver? Maybe. Why is your FF decision from Baku still pinned? Good question. On pin. Thank you. I'm really bad at social media. Can you tell? It's almost like the broadcast for children. I think it's so funny that they are mad at swearing. Alright, cars out on track again. Predictions for predictions for Q2. We gotta see some upset. We gotta see like a Hamilton or a Russell or a Ferrari driver out here, or like a cheeky Checo. I think Ocon will definitely be out. I think Tsunoda will be out. I think Colapinto will be out. I think Magnussen will be out. So I think we have those 4 will be out for sure. And then it's like between, can Alonso do it? Can Albon do it? Can Hulk do it? But I'm tasting an upset. I'm tasting like one cheeky little premium driver out in Q2. Oi, Verstappen! My God. Poof. Russell, Magnussen, Ocon, Colapinto, Tsunoda. Yeah, that looks reasonable. I think that's a good prediction, Laura. Verstappen was really fast, but then had that wobble at the end. That was close. If Max is getting community service for swearing, Gunther has a life sentence in jail. That's funny. He's not there anymore though, so it's fine. He can swear as much as he wants. Verstappen over the line, was over the white line, so he did not get a time set. Lap time deleted on the final corner, unlucky. Hulk goes fastest, but that's a pretty bad time for Checo. Yeah, I think Magnussen, Ocon, Colapinto, Tsunoda will definitely be out. So then it's just who the final spot is. Norris, another 1:30.007. Williams are cooking. I think, yeah, Williams. Are they? Doesn't look like they are yet. Leclerc, second fastest. Here comes Sainz. Behind Hulkenberg. Sainz is behind Hulk. Piastri ahead of Hulk. Albon pole. You gotta calm down. Albon, what are we doing with the tires? Nothing, absolutely nothing. You jinxed them, Laura. Tsunoda, 5th fastest. Woo! Better than Sainz and Perez. Maybe we're wrong to count out Tsunoda. Oh, Verstappen touched the wall as well. Oh, maybe a cheeky Max Verstappen out. Oh, what a snap he got there. That was close. Dude, Max has saved the car twice from hitting the wall. Pirelli are cooked for next year. Yeah. Oh, people are sliding all about. They are struggling. Yup. Literally no one likes Pirelli now. Oh my God, that was close. Was that Piastri? Whew. I mean, Max has literally been close to crashing twice. Hamilton, a 10.5 slower than Norris to the first sector. Russell, 2.5 tenths. First sector, no, Russell is 2.5 tenths slower than Norris. Yikes. Yikes, dude. I mean, Norris just looks so confident. You would need a miracle to beat Norris today, I feel like. Yeah, they stopped even measuring Hamilton against Norris. They started measuring him against Albon. Russell as well. Happy I swapped out my Merc assets. Yeah, I mean, Merc looks like... Ferrari just trolled us in FP3 to make us buy Mercedes. But, like, Sainz doesn't look that good, and he won here last year. Hamilton goes... Okay, I say that, but then Hamilton goes fastest. Never mind. How did that happen? What? We're sitting here talking about how bad they are. They're being measured against Albon at the second sector, and then they just go and take fastest lap. Huh? That made no sense. Alright, Hamilton fastest. A 10th faster than Norris. That's the fastest lap of this qualifying session. No? 1:29.9. Maybe Norris was faster, actually, in Q1. Max Verstappen going out. With used tires? No, they look new. No, they're new. Man, I'm really struggling. Russell's complaining about tires, no grip. He's not slow. Now this, I mean, he's third. He's behind Norris. He looks fine. He's definitely making Q3. Let's see what Williams are doing, because Williams were not cooking. Also some tire issues. Don't jinx him. I'll jinx everyone. Tsunoda doing well though. Verstappen's just chilling out on track alone. Is he gonna have time to set another lap? No, right? So he's finishing his out lap now, starting his lap. And then have to do a cooldown lap. Now, so this is Max's final run, by the way. There's no way Max can do another run after this. So he's just doing his run with no traffic. Oh, imagine a crash here. The drama. I think Max is out if he messes up. He definitely doesn't have another chance. There's not enough time left. And if there's enough track evolution and he does a small mistake, like, he needs to be perfect here. Let's see what he is at, where he is at after the first sector. He is a 10th faster than Hamilton, but Hamilton was slow in the first sector. Let's remember that. Hamilton was slow in the first sector. So he's probably about Norris's time at Norris' first sector. Let's see. This is where Hamilton was fast. Second and third sector. He's a whole second ahead of Hamilton at the second sector. What? Hello? What? What do you mean he's a second ahead? Oh no, that's against Magnussen. Why is he being measured against Magnussen, dude? I was about, how is he a second ahead of Hamilton? That would put him like gigapole. I mean, he's still gigapole. He did not mess it up. 1:29.68. Is that not a new record? What was the Q3 time? Or the FP3 time? 1:29.64. Oh, so it's close. It's not a new. It's not a new record, but it's close to Norris's best time in FP3. So that's a really good lap from Max. Really good lap from Max. But I was about to say, if he was a second ahead, he was beat. There would have been something cheatsy in that. But he was a second ahead of Magnussen in 11th. Yeah, I mean, that was a perfect lap from Max. Wow, wow, indeed. All right, so Max is definitely through. Could still have a cheeky Sainz or Perez go out. I don't think Russell's gonna go out now. I think he's safe in P4. I think it's Sainz and Perez that has to watch out. Ocon's definitely gonna be out. Leclerc, fastest sector 1. Sainz first sector is pretty good. Check it out, I hope and pray. This sounds cheesy, but Max is extracting the max right now. He definitely is. Ocon is definitely out. Abysmal times. Leclerc close to Verstappen at the second sector. Piastri goes fastest. Beats Verstappen, and that equals the best time, right? No, 6:46. That is Piastri's time is the fastest, is the track record, by the way. 1:29.64 is the track record. Here comes Leclerc, third, a tenth slower than Piastri, half a tenth slower than Verstappen. Ocon only good for 11th, is definitely out. Sainz 6th should be enough. Alonso needs a good lap to make it through. Albon is on a good lap. Colapinto's on a good lap. Alonso only 9th. Magnussen's out, only bests Ocon, 12th place currently. I think Albon and Colapinto's gonna go above them. Albon only good for 10th. Perez is out currently, but on a fast lap. So Albon's probably out then. Colapinto, 11th, that's him out. Just behind Albon by 7 thousandths of a second. And Tsunoda goes 8th, knocks both Williams out. What a shock. Good job, Tsunoda, really showing Danny Rick who's the boss. Put on the big boy pants, sending Danny Rick into retirement. Perez is out! Oh, mama, Perez is 13th. I knew we were gonna get one. Alonso makes it through. Hulkenberg makes it through. Hulkenberg goes faster than Russell in P7, and Checo is only good for 13th. Yuki is the GOAT, literally sending Danny Rick into retirement. Porras strikes again. Yeah, that's poor. He's a second slower than Max. That's just not okay. And he was supposed to be good in this car as well, so he really doesn't have an excuse. Magnussen out in 13th. Magnussen out in 14th. Ocon 15th. I was mostly correct, but Tsunoda really stuck it to me. And both Williams out. I thought Albon would make it through, but Hulkenberg, Tsunoda, and Alonso through. Is pretty crazy. Checo. K-Mag and Checo, 13th and 14th, is very funny. Poor Williams that have to have that in the back. That's gonna be that's a bowling ball waiting to happen. Yeah, man, Hulkenberg's is so good. He's just so good. Just a chill P7. No big deal. I can't believe he's going. I mean, I think it's good for him that he goes to Audi. I think he'll do great things there. But I'm not gonna enjoy seeing him in Sauber next year. My God, that's gonna stink. Because surely Sauber are gonna be awful next year too. They're just saving money. They're like are Sauber even upgrading their car? I feel like Sauber's just written off the season and they're just saving. They're putting all the money into the Audi car. K-Mag got to sacrifice his career for Hulk to get a podium. Yup. Colapinto following in the steps of Logie and out-qualifying Perez in his third race. Yep. Also, Colapinto being 7,000 slower than Albon is very, very good. Ooh, did he touch? Ooh, that was... I don't think he touched the wall, but that was close for Albon. All right. Now the question is, I don't have any of the C tiers in Q3. So ideally, I want them to be 8, 9, 10. C tier. Ideally, I want Alonso to be in 8th. I would like Hulk and Tsunoda 9, 10. But if you have them, you're hoping for a 6th place. Because then you get enough points from just, the qualifying session that it could be worth it. Wow, low speed corners. Verstappen is 7.5 tenths better. Oh, Danny Rick interview. P11 in quali is fantasy brutal. Yep, I know. While K-Max about to eat Paris for lunch. Yup. I'm just listening to Danny Rick's... I'm just listening to Danny Rick's last qualifying press conference. Well. I mean, Tsunoda's in 9th. Ricciardo out in Q1. It's not good enough. Tsunoda has literally sent Danny Rick into retirement with that lap. Really, really unfortunate to lose Danny Rick in the sports. I would have liked to have seen what he could do at Red Bull. I think they should have kicked Perez after the summer break and just put Ricciardo in there for the rest of the year, just to see. Perez is so bad that if Ricciardo's bad, you just fire him as well, and then you have 2 seats available. You get rid of both Perez and Ricciardo. Perez car about to look like how it did in Monaco into turn 1 tomorrow. I'm excited for it. I mean, Albon for P11, I still think Albon could finish like P9. So that's plus 2 positions, plus 2 overtakes, 2 points, 6 points total. So I think Albon could still have a good race fantasy wise. All right. I mean, Lando's taking pole. I think we can agree on that. Then it's just interesting where the rest end up. By the way, I don't know if you saw it, but Lando was on a monster of a lap and aborted it in Q2. Get rid of Rick and Perez and bring in Lawson Hajar, I reckon. I agree. I don't know if it's Hajar specifically, but that's why I was so surprised they kept Perez. I thought that the entire reasoning of even bringing Daniel Ricciardo back was so that he could race for Red Bull, right? That was the reasoning to bring Ricciardo back over Nick de Vries. So why not give Ricciardo the chance for 8 races to see if he cuts it in Red Bull? You fire Perez because Perez has been awful this year. And maybe it is the car being bad, like they've come out and said now. The car being difficult to work with. But it's still not been good enough. And Red Bull are going to lose the Constructor Championship. They are not winning the Constructor Championship. And that is Perez's fault. Because if Perez was better at the start of the year, when the car was the best car on the grid, they would be winning it. Right? I think Verstappen is still winning the Drivers' Championship because Verstappen is Verstappen. I don't think Norris is catching him. And if Perez was just there getting P4s, P5s, I think they could have had a shot of winning the Constructors this year, but they have not been there, and that's Perez's fault. So I think you fire Perez after the summer break, you bring Ricciardo in, you put Liam Lawson in the because you want Liam Lawson in the V card anyway, and if Danny Rick is not good enough in the like Red Bull, proper Red Bull for the rest of the year anyway, you just kick Ricciardo at the end of the year as well, and suddenly you have 2 seats. You can promote Yuki or and again, I think you should put Yuki in the Red Bull. I think he's more than deserved a chance there. But at that point, you can put either Yuki or Liam Lawson in the main Red Bull car alongside Max Verstappen next year, and then have another rookie seat available. So there's so much young talent that refuse to use it because sponsor is too important for them. Yep. All right, Q3 is up and running. Cars are out on track. I think Norris is taking pole. Norris aborted the lap in Q2. He was on a monster. Fastest in Sector 1. Don't know if it was fastest in Sector 2, but it was close. So I think Norris is taking this. I'm just hoping for a McLaren 1-2, baby. McLaren 1-2. Ferrari 3-4. And honestly, like, I'm competing. I know, I want you guys to do well as well, but I'm obviously competing against Mercedes owners because no one has Red Bull, right? So I would love McLaren, Red Bull. No, McLaren, Ferrari, Red Bull, Mercedes. That'd be the perfect for me. Norris pole to win conversion rate increased this weekend, I think. I think so as well. Verstappen is looking good. He is looking good. But he had a perfect lap. And Piastri beat him. So I think maybe it's McLaren, Verstappen. Like that one lap from Verstappen was literally perfect, and he had a completely free track to just do what he does best. And Piastri beat him, and Lando probably would have beat him as well, without making perfect laps. So I think Verstappen is probably gonna be P3. So what I want is Piastri, Ferrari for McLaren, Ferrari, Red Bull, Mercedes, Alonso, Tsunoda, Hulk. That would be my ideal lineup. That would be what I would want. What I think is different, I think it's going to be Norris, Piastri, Verstappen, Leclerc, Hamilton, Sainz, Russell, and then Alonso, Hulk, Tsunoda. No, I think Alonso's going to be P10. I think it's going to be Hulk, Tsunoda, Alonso, unfortunately for me. Let's see these first laps, or these first sectors. Piastri, 26.67. Verstappen, 26.56. That's better. Norris. Coming up on that sector marker here is at a 26.493 fastest. Piastri 37.9. Second sector. Verstappen is faster than the Piastri. Here comes Piastri. Oh, there goes Max Verstappen. Oh, no, it's Sainz. Sainz is gone. That was not very smooth operator of him. Sainz is in the wall. That's Sainz P10. That was a big shunt. That could be the gearbox gone. If his gearbox is done, is he starting from pit lane? Or is he starting P10? Sainz is in the wall. In the wall. That, I don't think it's enough of a shunt to break the gearbox, but it's possible. Verstappen got to finish his lap, though. That is really funny. Wow, he wasn't even on a fast lap. He was start. That does. Wow. Double Williams between Checo and Sainz. Okay, panic. Yep. At least he's not starting next to Oscar. Well, he's starting P10, so the problem is if that broke his gearbox, he's starting from pit lane. I nearly bought Sainz, but I felt he was off the pace. Yeah, I also it was one of my plans to bring Sainz in, actually. Would that be good for Sainz owners or no? I think you would rather have Sainz from P20 than P10, no? Am I crazy? Track limits for Verstappen as well. So only Piastri and Hulkenberg have a lap time now. Like negative points? No, he shouldn't, right? He didn't set a time in Q3, but I think that's still fine. What happened to Paris when he crashed in Q2? I can't actually remember, but I don't think you get. I don't think he gets negative points for crashing now in qualifying. He set a time in qualifying, so he doesn't get any negatives here. It's just but I do think P20 is better for owners than P10. But it would be P20 from pit lane if he has to change his gearbox. Sounds for P10 seems guaranteed to just get a few overtakes to finish P7. Yes, but he's also at the back of Formula A. So P10 could be prime fastest lap position, right? If he's if Sainz starts P10, overtakes. Oh, he has Paris behind him as well. Maybe not. But yeah, he say he's starts P10, overtakes Alonso, Tsunoda, and Hulkenberg. I don't think that would be an issue. Then he's P7 and is maybe in an opportunity to go for fastest lap. But I do think P20 is better than P10. I don't think the gearbox is broken. It looks fine. You can kind of see it. I thought it was Max who crashed because Max was after Piastri, but it was because Sainz was starting his lap. Sainz wasn't on a fast lap, so I thought it was Verstappen who crashed first. That doesn't look like gearbox issues. Let's see what Hamilton did. Ooh. Big snap from Hamilton. Will Sainz crash do anything bad for Ferrari Constructor? No. No, it will not. Oh, I guess I'm technically a Sainz owner because I have the Ferrari Constructor. I was thinking it too, but I wasn't gonna say anything. You're so unbelievably thirsty for Sainz, it's crazy. I saw it too, and I was like, that is just they can't show that. This is a kid show. They can't show that. Pin of shame again. Pin of shame. I was giggling and kicking my feet. Alright, new pin of shame. New pin of shame. New pin of shame. Saying this is a Sainz hater too. Oh. I do have the Ferrari Constructor, so technically I am a Sainz owner. I hope his gearbox is broken. Oh, Jesus. Jail. 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 Oh. I do have competition, yes. Oh, I could never compete with Carlos Sainz. Are you crazy? There's no way. That's literally impossible. As the one person I could not compete with. What? That slide is funny though. I wouldn't do that. You would never catch me sliding like that. Across the Singapore turn 19. Back into the Tech Pro. His spin was comically funny. Oh, they're trying to fix the Tech Pro. Hey. Look at them slamming their butts into it. It's so funny. Checo's yapping now. Could not care. Oh. Ooh, Jesus. Oh, so tired. No more crashes. I'm not. Oh, actually, another crash would be great. Like, before anyone sets time. Give me fucking... sorry, but give me Hulkenberg P2. I don't even have Hulkenberg in my team. I would love to see a Hulkenberg P2. Good times. I would love a Hulkenberg P2. Just end the session here. Just red flag after red flag. That time from Hulkenberg, by the way, is not good. 130.8. That's P10 other times. Oh, P9 now that Sainz is gone. Oh, it's just a red flag. What am I doing? I'm gonna go get some water, I think. Is there a water bottle somewhere? Yes, it is. Ooh. Still a red flag. Oh, can I go to sleep? Sleep stream? I'm just gonna recline. Backlit just shining through me. Yuki, please sign my Yuki bear. And you're sitting in the middle of the grandstand. Good luck getting that with a little handmade sign. You cannot say that. What do you mean, let us watch you sleep? No thanks. Oh, I can do one of those. I've seen people on Twitch do. They set up like cameras where they sleep, and then you can like pay money to have like like text to speech, or like you pay money to play annoying sounds. So they're just trying to sleep, and then people pay money to wake them with like scary sounds. Also, that liver, that RB, can we talk about that RB livery, the denim livery? It's so ugly. I'm sorry, but it's not. It does not look good. The McLaren livery is kind of clean. I also don't mind the Mercedes one, but that RB denim, no, I don't like it. I think it's bad. I think it's awful, actually. I think it looks stupid. Uh, 22:07. So in 2 minutes it will restart. Why didn't they use it in Austin? Is my question? Yeah, it makes no sense. RB livery is gorgeous. No, I think it's actually one of the worst liveries we've had. I wholeheartedly disagree. Too many different blues. Yes, I don't like it at all. I think it looks dumb. It doesn't look like, it doesn't give me the denim feel. It looks too tacked on. So I think it's bad. Oscar looks so polite sitting in his car. Cat energy. I'm trying to figure out if I'm getting Sainz penalty points. I don't think you get Sainz penalty points. I only think you get Sainz penalty points if he crashes in Q1 before he set a time. But he has set a time, so I don't think he gets penalty points. Do. Yes, I am. We're just waiting for cars on track. No, they're waiting. Is it only enough to do one run? Can they not do two? They're all waiting for something. You have 8. They have 8 minutes. I think they can still make 2 runs. No? Am I dumb? Maybe you can't actually. No, wait. Oh, maybe they only have 1 run left. Yeah, because it takes like 5 minutes to do a full out lap. It's like 2 minutes, and then the actual proper lap is like 1:30, and then it's like a 2 minutes in lap. Then they only have time for one out lap, yeah. So they're all just waiting now. That's really interesting. It's all on one card, and only Piastri and Hulk have banked times. But I don't think 1:30.037 is going to be enough for Piastri to get pole. But like someone could definitely mess up, you know? This is stressful, yeah. Russell into the wall. I mean, if someone puts it in the wall now, it's gonna be crazy. I mean, what did you even do then? Oh, race control Sainz crossing the track on foot. Classic. Need some sort of mess up. But if they had done okay, so they had like 8 minutes, right? If they had done an out lap, hot lap, in lap, how long is that? That's like 2:06. That's like 5 minutes 30, you know? Quick fuel up, and then you just do an out lap before it goes 0 on the timer. Did they really not have time to do 2 laps? Because you can do like you can do your lap after the quali, right? I mean, you can do. That is the dumbest thing. Why do they have minion ice and minion outfits on Leclerc and Sainz? I hate it. So I feel like they could have done 2 runs, but maybe they don't want to do it. Oh, maybe they don't have enough. Oh, they messed the tires up, so they don't think it's worth going out on used tires. That makes sense. No, they wouldn't have to carry all the fuel because they could go back in and refuel. Like, come back in is like 3 minutes remaining. You have like a minute to refuel. I don't know how fast they do it. Yeah, I mean, they obviously know it better than me. I have no idea how long it takes to refuel the car. But they wouldn't have enough tires. Oh yeah, can't refuel in pit box. Would be tight to get it. It would be tight. And also they wouldn't have enough new tires anyway, so they can only do 1. So you wouldn't want to risk it on old tires, I guess. Here we go. First cars out on track. It's the McLarens. With 4 minutes to go. Interesting. They could have waited. But they're doing it now. Looks like Sonoda is going out as well. And Hulkenberg. So what is the order then? We have... Was that Piastri or Lando? I couldn't actually see. They're waiting with Verstappen. Oh, we're gonna have to sweat this out. Verstappen going last. I think it's Piastri first. Yes, it's Piastri, Norris, Hulk. Then Alonso. Then Leclerc. And I think we have Sonoda after that. I thought I saw Sonoda. No, it's Hamilton. Okay. I thought I saw Sonoda go out as well. Did they stop him? Oh, they're going slow out the pit lane, though. They really want to get spaces. Something happened with Sonoda. If the car in front of you plays games, you're allowed to overtake him after the pit exit. Okay, so they want Tsunoda to overtake the Mercedes. Alonso, unsafe release. Who? All right, every car out on track. Tsunoda, Verstappen lost. I don't think there will be any traffic issues. Maybe with Tsunoda and Verstappen. Verstappen is overtaking Tsunoda there. Verstappen overtook Tsunoda on track. That's interesting. Here comes Piastri. Oh my god, a crash here. It's okay. Honestly, if I'm Hulkenberg here, aren't you just sending it into the wall? What? Why not? You let Piastri and Norris finish their laps. They qualify ahead of you. You smash it into the wall. You start P3. No. What are they gonna do? Everyone's been snapping all over the place. If I'm Hulkenberg, I'm sending that car into the wall. I'm doing a Carlos Sainz slide across, smashing my rear end. Right? Why not? Don't let Verstappen through. And he let Verstappen through. Hee. That's funny. Totally accidental crash. Yeah, I know. Well, what are they gonna do? Oh, you can't crash? What? I tried to not crash. Big brain strats. Verstappen just overtook Tsunoda and Russell. Ooh, Piastri coming up on Tsunoda and Russell. There could be traffic. Piastri improves his time. 1:29.953 by half a tenth to a tenth. Norris, fastest in sector 2, goes top with a brutal time. Oh my god. 1:29.525 is disgusting. Hulk did not crash, improves his time significantly, is only 2/10 behind Piastri. That's pretty good. Let's see Leclerc. I mean, no one's beating that Norris time. It's actually impossible. Haas out qualifying both Red Bulls would be absolute cinema. Yup. Leclerc behind Hulk. Oh god. Oh lord. There's no way. Hamilton. Oh, Hamilton, what a lap. Beat Piastri P2. Verstappen slow. Not at all. The second. Bad lap from Piastri. I think he got caught up by Tsunoda in that final sector. Russell faster than Piastri as well. Leclerc had his time removed. Oh my god. Wow. It's Ferrari. It's a Ferrari disaster. Oh, I'm so happy I didn't go with Leclerc. Leclerc's time deleted. Yep. Oh no. It's a disaster for Ferrari. Oh no. Oh no, 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 no. Nico Hulkenberg, beast P6. Yeah, track limits for Leclerc. So that's a Ferrari 9th and 10th. But there should be some positions to gain there. I think they should pass Hulk, Alonso, and Tsunoda. Hulk owners absolutely feasting. P6, that's 5 points in qualifying. Yikes. Ay, 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 ay. I don't have Hulkenberg. Hulkenberg owners should be very, very happy with that. I think that's almost a guaranteed positive if he doesn't DNF. Swapped out Merc to Ferrari. Yeah, that was a bad move. Bad move. But I mean, Leclerc was slow even with the track limits, but he must have made a mistake, snapped over the line or something, because he was slower than Hulk even before his time got deleted. He would have been ahead of Alonso. But my God, well, Leclerc and Sainz are out. Fantastic. P9, P10. I'm at least happy. Well, Piastri's only 5th. That is surprising. I'm surprised about that as well. That is not great. Hamilton, Russell really showing up. You told me to swap it out for Sainz and Ferrari, you fraud. Hey, man. Okay, Sainz crashed and Leclerc is bad at driving. What? How am I supposed to predict that? I think the car looks better than Mercedes, but it's fine. It's fine. The Mercedes are going to get passed by Piastri anyway, and Leclerc and Sainz are going to increase in positions to 6th and 7th and get fastest lap. Oy, oy, oy. So, hoping Ferrari race pace will pull through. Yup. But it's also a difficult track to overtake. That is unfortunate. I could have done Ferrari to Mercedes, but I was never really considering it, to be honest. Max 2nd is very impressive. Very, very impressive. Norris, you gotta keep him off. You gotta beat him. Norris, tomorrow, don't you dare lose a position to Max on the first lap. That is so unbelievably bright. My God. Well, we could be hearing the Dutch anthem again. Yep, if he beats Norris in turn 1, we could hear the Dutch anthem. Good luck tomorrow, everyone. Is there any final fix things here? If you have the 2x on Leclerc, you 100% final fix here. No? Like, if you have Sainz, do you final fix to Russell? Probably not. Probably not. I'm not final fixing anything for sure. The only final fix I see here that is viable is Leclerc. If you have Leclerc 2x, you definitely final fix him here. If you can't afford Norris, well, Hamilton or Piastri. Hamilton starting P3. That's pretty good. So probably Hamilton. Or if you already have McLaren, you go for Piastri and hope Piastri can overtake and get like a P3. But like if you have McLaren on 2x, you kind of have to transfer him out, no? Might 2 transfer Russell to Sainz and Merc to Ferrari. Oh my God. Yeah, that looks pretty tragic now. Unlucky. Both Ferraris could make up points. I think they will pass the back markers, yeah, but they're not going to get that much points anyway. It's only 3 positions increased, 3 points, 3 overtakes, so 6. Plus what they get in the race, so like 16 points. Whereas if you can final fix Leclerc to Norris, you definitely do it. And like Hamilton is on 15 points just being P3 already, so it's close. But yeah, maybe don't final fix Leclerc to Piastri. If you can final fix Leclerc to Norris, you definitely do it. But I don't think that's a likely scenario. Alright. I'm gonna call it. I'm tired. I need some rest. Quick little nap. And I will see you all here on the channel. Don't forget to like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Follow me on Twitter. Subscribe to the channel. Race review on Monday probably, and then that 3x video that I teased and talked a little bit about before qualifying. So yeah, I will see you around. Thank you so much for sticking around as always. It's so fun watching it with you group of people. You know, spending the last hour or so with a closer group. So you're gonna go dream of that one Sainz clip now. That's valid. I respect that. I respect that. All right. see you all in 3 weeks, I guess. Or 4 weeks is it until the next qualifying. But since there's a sprint weekend, I will say I will be doing, like I did for Austria, I will be doing a sprint quali watch along on Friday, and then a deadline stream as well on Saturday. But that's in 4 weeks time. But I'm just saying that now, so you know that since the sprint qualifying has such a big impact on the fantasy decisions, I will be doing a sprint quali watch along Friday off Cota. So see you in 4 weeks for the next live stream, unless I figure out a reason to go live until then. But videos every week, so subscribe, don't miss it. I'll see you all some other time. Goodbye.